is it the new hat, or does Stugotz look 10 years younger?
I shaved.
You are clean shaven, and I haven't seen that in a while. It's been a long time.
Well, last week, I think.
Looks tan too.
Clean shaven. It might be the hat.
It's the hat.
It is a new.
It's a nice hat.
It is a new hat. Do you want to tell us the story of the hat? Or does it because we have seen you dress a certain way for a long time now, and we've seen the same hat for a while now. So this hat is it's actually you and I don't wear light colors very much. So
no.
I'm in a light shirt today, and people have commented on that. So I imagine you've been getting a lot of comments on your hat.
Now, this is the first comment I've received about the hat. I will tell you the story that I was at the Sphere. I have a residency there along with Dead & Company. And it was like 2 in the morning. I'm strolling through a little gift shop at the Wynn Hotel. And there was a mirror in there. And I looked at the hat I was currently wearing, and it was stained. It looked really bad. And I was embarrassed. Even at a Dead show at 2 in the morning, I was embarrassed about the hat I was wearing. And then I saw this hat. And I'm like, that looks like a good hat.
Fits you well, too.
I mean, I was microdosing on mushrooms. I was doing the things you do at Dead & Company at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
That looks like a hat you would buy while microdosing, but that's not your excuse today. You have decided to stay with the look, right?
Well, yeah, because the other hat is still stained. I don't know how to get stains out of a hat. I mean, so this is the cleanest, the newest hat that I have, and I like it. I think it's a good look. I don't know.
At what point is it not microdosing anymore? If you take like 6 tablets, I've heard from a friend that take a couple and you're like, oh, this is nice, but then if you take 6, you're not microdosing anymore. You're just dosing.
Put it on.
You're overdosing.
Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. If you take 6 tablets, are you still microdosing?
I took a hat to the dry cleaners once. It worked.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
put it on the poll, Juju, as well. Would you ever take a hat to the dry cleaner? Not a baseball cap.
It was a baseball cap. It was one of my white baseball caps that I really like, and it had makeup stains and stuff. So I took it to the dry cleaners. They got it all out. It got stained again within like 3 days, and then I put it in my washing machine. Same results. You could just put it in the wash, I think.
My wife has done the thing where she buys like the little hat thing that you can put in the washing machine. If you put the hat in this little thing, it keeps it. It won't mess it up. It didn't work. It messed up all the hats she's done it with.
Washing machine tends to mess up the hats. I've heard dishwasher.
Dishwasher works.
Yeah,
How does the washing machine mess it up? Mine was fine.
Because of the cycle, I guess if you have other things in there, they can, compromise the structural integrity of the hat. Whereas the dishwasher,
Ruins the
it's
shape.
stationary. You don't have to worry about things bumping into it.
The hat that was stained, did it get stained there, or because you have had hats that you golf in and you wear a lot, and they do get stained. So this one was more stained than the average stained hat.
Yeah, this one was. This had arrived at a place where it was no longer wearable. I couldn't wear it anymore.
You never know where a hat stain comes from.
Nope.
Right?
All of a sudden,
I have
you
no
take
idea.
it off,
Right?
and you're like, where'd that come from?
Right. One day it looks like new. The next day it's you're throwing it in the garbage, and you're getting one from the Wynn at 2 in the morning, microdosing.
Chris, did your wife has to be alarmed by the sheer number of hats she ruined, right? Because you seem, if I had to guess who's got the most hats around here, it's you, is it not?
No, like Roy and Billy and they have all those hats, the minor league hats that we got sent over the years.
My wife hates the fact that I have so many hats. I got from the internet 2 industrial size hat racks that you have in department stores, and they're just packed to the brim, and I it's overflowing. I have a separate crate for it. Conservative estimate, I might have 300 hats.
And to answer your question, she doesn't ruin a lot of hats because after the first one, I was like, you're never washing any of these hats again.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the Wake up, let out the sheets. We came for one, motherfucker, get my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the I hear him him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, right girls, let her tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
We'll get to the WNBA draft and an explosive article by The Athletic that's not all that explosive, but it's just about Belichick and his girlfriend, so people are going to eat that up today because an open records request. I imagine, even though the emails were not terribly damaging, I believe North Carolina will not make the mistake again of having a situation where they can be subject to an open records request, even though it's a school. And I just got to imagine they're going to be communicating more carefully now, even though the article just makes Jordan Hudson, his girlfriend, look like a business beast. Like she's going to be helpful for Belichick in his old age. But before we get to that, I need to start with we've known Jessica here for 4 years now. I've never seen her as angry as I did before the show, and I was only catching glimpses of it, right? Because it was going past the door, and I don't know who she was yelling at or where it was directed, but she is fed up with the idea of only Katy Perry going to space. Like, all I heard was just stray shots, and it wasn't anyone else that was bothering her, but it seemed like Katy Perry doing it bothered her.
I mean, did it not bother you, Dan? Did it not bother you, Mike?
I could see how it bothers folks.
This whole space thing, it's not just Katy Perry. Okay, this started years ago. Maybe the first time they did it, I was like, that seems like a waste of money. Then the second time they did it, I was like, okay, what's the point of this? Now they're doing it, and they're like, it's an all-female space crew. Oh, my God, feminism, yes. I don't care. Who cares? Like, what a turd, honestly. This just landed on my timeline like a turd yesterday, and I just don't care. I'm like, you were in space for 11 minutes, you get off the flight, you kiss the ground, really? Like, William Shatner went up into space however many years ago on one of these flights and said that it made him very sad. It was a very sad and lonely and, like, just a profound moment for him. And he was like, I don't know why I did that, basically. I'll read the quote later.
Please. No, I'm going to find, while you're talking, I'm going to find the quote because it was one of the best quotes I've ever read by anybody. William Shatner doing some real pondering while going up into space. And I'm going to find it right now. Gayle King looked
she looked miserable.
Deeply unhappy. I imagine you'd be a little scared. No one else seemed scared.
That's what she looked to me, Gayle King. Terrified.
She looked every bit of, oh my God, I'm strapped to a rocket going into outer space and I may not come back. Mm-hmm. Is that Katy Perry?
And they were like, Katy Perry sang in space. Like, okay.
Of course she did.
I don't care.
What a day for women.
Okay. Katy Perry has had 9 #1 singles. People forget.
She was a superstar in the 2000s,
Yeah.
early 2010s. Like, I loved Katy Perry.
The biggest of superstars.
This isn't about
yes.
her music sucks, which her new album wasn't very good.
Well,
this isn't about, like, her public persona. This isn't about any of the things that may annoy you about Katy Perry. This is the fact that they just spent, like, millions of dollars for an 11-minute space trip, and they were like, ooh, look, but it's all women.
May I posit that it is a little bit about Katy Perry sucking now? Because,
yeah, I mean, that I'll give you a little bit.
Yeah,
but
because it feels like an overt marketing ploy. She reveals the set list while she's in outer space to her tour, a tour that's reportedly been really struggling to sell tickets after a huge flop of an album. It felt like a transparent marketing ploy, which is like the only thing that really bothered me about Katy Perry going in outer
I know you
space.
think it's a marketing ploy, but how do you know this wasn't her teenage dream?
Get out.
Don't do that to him.
no,
too
get
early.
out.
It deserves it.
It's too early.
Get out.
It was forced.
Get out.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. What do we have? Let me see what we've got.
He had
here.
9 #1 singles to choose from.
Major penalty, 5 minutes, swooning comedy.
Wow. Gotta be high sticking.
I really got bullied. I got bullied into that one by you guys.
I have nothing, Dan, to say about, like, the ethical implications of this, the moral implications of this, any of the things that are happening with Amazon. I put all of that aside. Just the mere substance of people going to outer space, but it's not really outer space, but technically it is outer space. Yeah. And this whole publicity stunt aspect of it. Who is it for? Does anyone care?
Well, you are understandably upset about this, and a lot of people
Am I?
are. Yes, I think
Bezos did faceplant, so that's good. I'm here for the content of it. The Gayle King looking terrified aspect of it, the forced marketing ploy, Jeff Bezos faceplanting as he was being a concerned husband outside of the spaceship. I mean, no, they got married, didn't they? Did they get married? Or, you know what? Who
I think they
cares?
got married, yeah.
Who cares?
Italy.
Either way, he face planted.
Right.
That's the headline.
So this is part of the quote. I'm having more and more trouble finding things because of the acid pit of AI that that Google is, and that everything is. So Shatner said of going into space, he's the oldest person to ever go into space. I wept for the Earth because I realized it's dying. I dedicated my book, Boldly Go, to my great-grandchild, who's 3 now, coming 3, and in the dedication, say it's them, these youngsters, who are going to reap what we have sown in terms of the destruction of the earth. I saw more clearly than I have, with all the studying and reading I've done, the writhing, slow death of Earth, and we on it. It's a little tiny rock with an onion skin air around it. That's how fragile it all is. It's so fragile, we hang by a thread. We're just dangling. And he said he started crying because it was just grief. Now, I will say that I have, and this will surprise no one listening to this, been told after crying on an airplane that at certain heights, you get more emotional. And so I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know if the higher you go, so I have been told, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show, does traveling at a great height make people more emotional?
This is a great bit to find out how the higher you go, do you cry at worse movies? Like, if I can get up to 10 miles above sea level, am I crying at the end of 80 for Brady? Because at 30,000 feet, Little Women, bawling my eyes out. I mean, oh my God, what a devastating, devastating film.
Chris Cody was right. What a day for women, huh?
Feels like it.
They're like, yeah, we're, the government's going to defund NASA, all of our science and medical research. We don't care about that. But look, we're going to space with Katy Perry. Look over here. Katy Perry's going to space.
Would you want to go to space?
Not particularly.
He would, but he couldn't.
What just happened there?
I was trying to call back to you could go to space.
It wasn't
but you
your
couldn't.
callback,
At least you did it well. Yeah, from 10 days ago.
Stay focused on the joke.
Now that we've heard it.
And the question.
Yeah, but I thought the joke was about I could live there, but I would live there.
I think you could go to space, but you wouldn't.
I couldn't go to space, and I wouldn't. So
I think
the
you
joke
could.
doesn't work on any level.
And you wouldn't.
But I couldn't. How would I go to space? I don't it's too expensive.
Call Mickey Arison? I don't know. You must have a connection.
No, I can't. So wait a minute. So Mickey Arison's cruise lines and not rockets. Just he's a rich person, so I just call Mickey Arison.
The guy.
You say get me to space.
Well,
yeah.
So here. So I've said this before on the show. I legitimately, if you gave me, I live right here in the epicenter of Miami, and I have for a long time. And if you gave me a challenge right now and said, Dan, by yourself in an hour, get cocaine, I couldn't do it, and I wouldn't know how to do it. I wouldn't know where exactly to start.
The alley where you give blood every morning.
It's not every morning. It's every 3 months. But I legitimately don't know how to do that. So when you tell me, can I go to space, I don't think I can. Even if I wanted to, I think this is just the exclusive domain of William Shatner and Katy Perry. I don't know how much this costs. I assume it's extraordinarily expensive. That
Coke?
I'm guessing that. So I don't know.
How much? Would you pay You'd probably pay $25,000 for cocaine because it's just so foreign to you.
Oh, if you're a coke dealer, you seek out Dan.
It's a whale. Does 25,000 sound okay? Is that all right?
Find out for me what it would cost somebody if they just wanted to go to space. Can you tell me what you're interested, Stugotz? This athletic story, I imagine that this is one of those that gets people behind the paywall because They are simply interested in the fact that Bill Belichick is 50 years older than his girlfriend. And there was a lot of talk a couple of weeks ago because it was just known that she was involved in some of the business operations and emails and managing and marketing of his career. And in this open records request, she has a title. And so I thought she was acting as sort of a manager/agent, but she is the chief operating officer of Belichick Productions. And so
COO.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is a high position. That's one of
Very high.
That's one of his chief executives. And among the things she's handling is she's talking to their sports information department about how Steve Belichick is framed. She is writing emails saying he is to be framed as his own person. Stay away from pictures of the two. Make sure that you are giving out his resume and try to avoid the idea of Bill's son. And now there are two Belichick kids on the staff, right? But this was only in the older one, the one that we know that we've seen on NFL sidelines. She was also telling their social media people to get in the comment sections and start, silencing people, blocking people, because one of the emails from Belichick himself was saying, I can't believe that UNC would in any way be okay with me being called a predator because of who he's dating. And so they went and they scrubbed it, and he and they are asking. It's flimsy. It's only 44 pages and you don't see the rest of the exchange, but you're basically snooping around in Belichick's office and you're through his email. And then the one that I think Stugotz is going to like is there's also on April 3rd a signed document with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office consenting to an application for 14 phrases. Chapel Bill.
That was mine, to be fair.
The Bellustrator.
Ooh, wow. Jay Billis doesn't have that? and all forms of it? The Billustrator.
The Billustrator.
I know, but you have to take everything else,
This
right?
is the Bellustrator.
I get it.
It's totally different.
I don't get it. Like Telestrator?
Yes.
But why?
But Belichick. Because look, I'm not saying they're good patents. I'm just saying they went for 14 of them.
Don't bother with that one. That's what I'm saying.
The first one's good. Chapel Bill is good.
Chapel Bill is good.
Yes. I want the rest.
I don't have all 14.
Oh.
The Athletic couldn't get all 14. They only got
some explosive article.
They only got 14 points. I said it's only explosive because people like reading about this, I would imagine.
You didn't tell us that they had Chapel Bill in parentheses Bill's version.
Yeah, I didn't really even understand that.
Taylor's version.
It was spelled exactly the same way.
Yeah, it's Taylor's version. Like Taylor Swift. Come on, Dan.
Jeremy, you're flirting with disaster.
You really
The
are.
Belichick way. Been trademarked.
Thank you.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, high sticking.
It's been real hot and cold with these jokes today.
That one was a little bit better.
Speaking of female pop stars, how do they spell Chapel? Because maybe he's like a Chapel Roan
Chapel
fan.
Bill.
Also, now that I've talked about another celebrity female artist, I did it again. I'm kind of scared. The last time I did this, it didn't end well for me. And I still don't talk about C asterisks on the internet.
Yeah.
I take back everything I said about Katy Perry. I don't want to get another beef.
Does Katie have the same kind of fans?
No.
Yeah,
Asterisk
she
had?
definitely does.
Yeah?
No way.
She must. She must.
They're not doing work right now for her. She could use them.
Chris, is your father okay? Because a Greg Cody Tuesday, I've gone too far into the show without addressing the fact that Greg Cody is not here today, that Greg Cody is okay, he is well. He has the belly button umbrella that he had, or awning, whatever that thing was over his belly button. What do we know about it now?
It's been pushed back. I haven't seen his stomach yet. I know he's home yesterday, and he was texting with me, FaceTiming, and he's good. He's just resting. He was even debating coming in tomorrow, but we're thinking we're going to push it back to a Thursday, just give him a few days to rest. So we are expecting him this week.
Thank you for putting that behind me. There is J.D. Vance. I had not talked about that yet. You cannot put anything in the hands of these people and trust that it will be handled with care. J.D. Vance at Ohio State's championship celebration at the White House. That one hurts, right? Like, I understand that humiliation requires people to be capable of shame. But that one hurts. Like, he goes home at night, and the image of that, if you care about Ohio State football, like, all you got to do is not that. That's the only thing you got to not do. You can do almost anything else. In fact, you have more range than you have ever had to do almost anything else wrong in this situation. But that you can't do. I'm guessing that caused him some shame. And there's plenty on that resume to cause shame, but I'm guessing that one hurt. He's like, how could I not know that trophy is 2 pieces? How could I botch that completely?
I love how he reacts in a way like, let me pick this up real fast so no one notices. Like, he kind of reacts in a way like, oh shit, let me do this real. Let me here. No, nothing happened here, but it's like, yes, we all clearly
the entire
saw this.
press corps there.
Yeah.
Dan, to your point, if you've watched any college football national championship games over the last 5-6 years, 10 years, everyone knows this is a 2-piecer, right? Yep. I mean, real ball watchers know.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you know that the national championship trophy in football was 2 pieces?
Those hands have to be slippery, though, right? I mean,
just all of it is slippery?
Yes.
No one loved that more than Trump. He's just like this.
It wasn't me.
Look at this guy. I would never do that.
Well, that they sent him up there because he was the Ohio guy. Like, all right, Ohio State, here's Vance's chance to have a moment. And then the base of the trophy just slips out of his hands, and he fumbles around for it like he's like dropping papers outside of his car.
Someone has to yell there, like in the group, one of the players, fumble.
Yeah. Well, Oski.
There was wincing and gasping. Again, only one thing you can't do. Don't drop or break the trophy. I mean, I suppose there are things that can be said that would also be a humiliation, but just that particular video, I'm guessing, you guys tell me, if that had happened to you, do you think you'd have trouble sleeping that night? Because it's never fun, Stugotz. It can't be fun to anybody to be the source of viral shame. Like, even people who are super confident, even people who are indifferent about the internet, I suppose the people who can avoid this are just people who aren't attached at all or in any way to the internet. But I was having a conversation the other day while we were in California as part of the South Beach Session series with both Mina Kimes and Bill Lawrence about the effect of social media that I've been surprised by in my 50s when I wasn't affected by it in my 30s and my 40s. And like, I'm just super confused by sort of like the way that what the internet is and what has always been has a corrosive effect on my mind, while we all sort of acknowledge, hey, this is a great untreated addiction that we all sort of have, that people walking around on the streets, you cannot walk 10 steps without seeing someone who is in their phone because these things have become appendages for us. But viral shame, even to this clown car of people.
I don't think he cares, Dan. I don't think J.D. Vance, I think he slept fine last night.
You think he's immune to, and so you're immune to shame, because the reason I'm saying this one hurts is just like, hey.
Generally, that is the administration's superpower, but
agreed.
No one can replicate POTUS's shamelessness. And J.D. has quite famously tried, but falls short. And I do, you see it on his face right here. Immediate shame.
It's just, you're sent out there on behalf of Ohio. Here's the most precious thing Ohio has. It's the thing. Like, give Ohio one thing, this is what they want it to be. And you broke it in half, and you fumbled. And it's like, you got to go home. And I don't know what your wife says to you in that situation. I don't know how anyone soothes you in that situation. But you just think, Stugotz, I think, just...
They seem incapable of shame, so I have a hard time thinking. I'm certain he had plenty of things to do after that day, but I just think that they're incapable. Like, no, he's not losing sleep over that, man. He's done a lot worse than that.
It's a bad trophy, too.
Right.
Hey, it's got to be one piece. The fact that it comes apart, that's terrible. It's bottom heavy.
Yes.
It's
on the trophy makers.
It looks like a dick and a vagina.
Yeah.
I would say that's a plus.
I mean, it's the only trophy in sports that looks like both.
Is it the only trophy in sports that's a two-piece?
I mean, I remember the old national championship trophy. The crystal ball was fixed on top of a really massive base, but people would lift the crystal ball up. In fact, NCAA trophies generally very flimsy. They're wood planks. They're two pieces. Just give me, you know what? Just give me
a trophy.
Just give me a cup with two handlebars on the side.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I mean,
everyone thinks that the greatest trophy in sports is the Stanley Cup. There is no dispute of this. It is something that has a great history on it and is also a bit like sort of the Carpenter's Cup in Raiders of the Lost Ark that represents, the Golden Enlightenment, because it's not particularly a beautiful trophy, but you know what it is, you know its history, and I suppose its size is awfully impressive, but you know what that trophy means. I don't think it's actually beautiful.
As a trophy, though, if the Stanley Cup bowl came off of the base, this is what we're talking about here with this thing. Yeah. But if you watch hockey, you would know. Pick it up with two hands or just pick up the top.
This is one of the reasons, though, that I believe that there might actually be a dollop of shame here. That's a terrible way to learn that. To learn that it's two pieces.
We live in a post-shame society, Dan. Katy Perry's going to space.
His assistant got fired, right?
Somebody, literally a handler. Like, you need somebody.
You didn't tell me it was two pieces.
You need somebody to handle
Is the Pop-Tart Bowl trophy two pieces?
You see what you did to me out there?
Oh, I guess
wouldn't
you wouldn't know.
I would like to know if there is another trophy that is indeed two pieces.
I think the Lombardi Trophy is the greatest of all the trophies in terms of being able to handle it, carry it. You can pick it up with one hand. I mean, it's great. It's an efficient trophy. It is, and it means more than any other trophy.
Stugotz, isn't like the claret jug have a awkward like lid on it or something that falls
it does
off
at the
a
top.
lot?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
I think Stugotz is right, though. Like, as a trophy, you want the Stanley Cup is a cumbersome beast. It is. You cannot lift it. No one can lift it up with one hand. You must lift it up with two.
What's cool is that your name is on it for several generations before they retire those little cylinders and put it to the Hall of Fame. But you're etched in history forever. And I know you're given the Lombardi Trophy, and it's there on a display case, and you get your Super Bowl rings, and I guess that's your own personal trophy. But the fact that part of the experience is everyone that grows up wanting to be a pro hockey player wants to have their name there. They win it. They go through it. Oh, is my cousin on there? Look at all these legends that are on this Stanley Cup, and they want to read every single name. It's just, I think that's a cooler part of the experience. There's plenty of great trophies. There's plenty of bad ones, but the Cup is just so far and above everybody else.
No, I think the Cup is the coolest trophy for many of the reasons that you just described. I'm just saying the most efficient trophy to carry around with you is the Lombardi Trophy or the Heisman Trophy.
Well, Larry O'Brien Trophy is pretty easy to carry around,
I guess.
would think.
Heisman's very heavy.
You hold it by a leg, though, right?
No, the Larry O'Brien is also heavy. These are heavy trophies. Both of them are.
We can all agree the World Series trophy, aesthetically pretty, but doesn't really work for carrying around. Might get poked in the eye.
So dangerous. The chance for being impaled by that trophy is much higher than any other trophy.
How about Wimbledon? Nothing?
Yeah, it's a bowl, right?
Yeah, it's a bowl.
A dish?
That's like
That's the runner-up.
when you have company, you put salad in it.
Lando
I
Norris,
know these
baby
things.
Lando, for those who are fans of the F1 Minute, he accidentally broke a porcelain trophy last year after a race. I think it was the Hungarian Grand Prix, and it caused quite a scandal, quite a stir.
I'm sorry. I just laughed to myself about Stugotz last week calling the green jacket a green coat.
Rory got one.
Yes, you were not here yesterday, so we should get your thoughts because we were talking with glowing praise. I don't know the last golf moment around here that felt exactly like that one. I can't off the top of
Tiger winning the Masters, maybe.
I can't off the top of my head remember anything other than that. Us talking about golf in a way that was purely positive and purely isn't golf great or isn't sports great because that's and a reminder again, like this is the part, right, that's so interesting to me about Luka being traded or any millions of ways that ownership or corporate ends up ruining the emotion business by forgetting that it's the emotion business. We don't have a lot of those where your customer is connected to your thing in a way that is super strange. Our value, for example, as just a sports adjacent entity has to do with the power of the emotion business making the customer stick around for 3 hours when the entertainment industry is so splintered that, and not just the entertainment industry, and our attention spans are so splintered with the number of options that you have, that staying in front of something for 3 hours and consuming it is a treasure chest. And I'm just curious what your thoughts were about the way that golf captured America on Sunday.
It's such an amazing tournament, and it's why I love it so much, and it's why it's my favorite sporting event. And I say that every single year. It's my favorite week on the sports calendar. Saturday and Sunday at Augusta are just – they're incredible days where Justin Rose has the lead, but by the time he tees off, Rory is ahead of him, and suddenly he doesn't have the lead. And what that does to your mentality and how you approach it from a mental standpoint, thinking you're going to have the lead, and then you don't have the lead by the time you tee off. I got to tell you, Sunday was great to watch. It was also frustrating because that guy is such a talented golfer. And I think what captivated the world was if he didn't close that out, he's a career choker. But he did close it out, and he got it done. And the way he got it done was ridiculous. But he went from career choker, maybe never overcomes that final round, to one of the all-time greats.
Well,
he is up there, Dan, now with Tiger Woods. He is up there with, you can mention him in the same conversation because he has the career Grand Slam. It was frustrating from this standpoint. I'm not certain he deserved to win that thing. He blew it so many damn times. I was getting aggravated with Rory McIlroy.
That's one. We bet 4.5. The over-under today was 4.5 times you would get that golf dyslexia.
But the reason I think people get so frustrated with him is the talent is so obvious. It is so great. He might be the greatest ball striker we've ever seen, and I'm including Tiger Woods on the PGA Tour.
And Chris Paul.
20 years, played 82 games, huh? No rings. What's more impressive, 20 years, no rings, or 20 years playing 82 games? Who cares about the fact that he played 82 games? I mean, seriously. You show up. I don't care if I see Chris Paul play. I know, hey, in a day where superstars aren't playing anymore, they play 50 games, they play 60 games. There's Chris Paul, 20 years in, still giving you 82 games. You know what he's giving you? 82 below-average games. That's what he's giving you.
I want to ask you guys something.
I was talking about the Masters.
I don't know. I was surprised that you
talking about how talented Rory is, and that's why we get so frustrated when he misses a 4-foot putt. You're too talented to be us.
I was legitimately surprised that you went straight to the Chris Paul take machine there.
You lobbed it up.
Well, but I mean, you said ball striker. You lobbed it up. When I'm sitting there watching, though, what you're talking about in terms of pressure, can you guys tell me what it is that you think of when I ask the following question? The most pressurized thing that you watch where you feel for an individual in sports, the pressure on that individual's behalf. does anything do it with the speed and loneliness, the pace and loneliness that makes pressure in golf, the loneliness of it? You're alone over a ball with a stick. Makes human beings who know golf or don't know golf understand, oh, I'm watching this and I'm expecting a person not to have the mental strength to overcome how pressurized it is in this instance to be precise, because he has time to think. It's not muscle memory. This is like free throws. There aren't a lot of places in sports where you actually have, these people have been training so very much to get to those moments that whether it's an exhibition game or they're in the Super Bowl, there's a level of focus involved that makes it an event that they don't even have to think. They don't have to think. Golf is something entirely different. Golf, you can feel the weight on these people.
From one shot to the next, by the way.
But they then walk down the course, right? So, like, I was thinking about this, about the day, the times that they have to go to a playoff the next day. That's a tough night of sleep.
Yes.
Because it's not just that you feel the pressure, it's that you know that everyone watching you knows that you're under pressure. Like, it's different than playing in front of a stadium full of people and having, 100,000 people or 20,000 people, all that stuff. That's a lot of breathing on you, watching your performance. The thing the athlete risks, okay, and that there's bravery in it. In being the gladiator or the entertainer, you risk being embarrassed, knocked out in boxing. You risk being embarrassed in front of everybody. Boxers can't spend time thinking. Fighters can't spend time emotional. Like, it's just got to be scientific sort of survival. And so I felt this pressure on behalf of someone going in to fight one of the menaces, the historic menaces, whoever it is that you consider the boxers of all time. Seeing them walk to the ring, I feel the pressure. But tell me, Chris, as someone who loves golf, where else, like, I feel bad sometimes for the pressure on goalies or whatnot, but again, it's muscle memory, it's reflex. They're not spending a lot of time knowing that they're under pressure, aware of it.
Baseball pitchers?
I mean, in basketball, it's on the foul line, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't, to your point, there's not a lot of examples of time to think in sports.
Well, you don't think, when you think baseball, even a quarterback on a last-minute drive, right? Quarterback on a last-minute drive, that whole thing takes less than 2 holes. Like, this is an all-day thing that you're living with. It's the last day. I've been playing for 10 years. I haven't won. This guy's chasing me. We all feel it, is what I'm saying. We're all sort of there with you, but we don't really understand it. And so when do you understand it? When he's walking off at the end and you see, oh my God, he was terrified. He was Gayle King trying to go into space.
Maybe Clayton Kershaw making postseason starts, guys like that are historically great regular season pitchers, right? Pitchers specifically that then have a big start later in a postseason when they've struggled. But those are few and far between. There are not a lot of guys who were that dominant in the regular season and then don't have those moments in the postseason. That's the only thing I can think of, because even a closer, you don't know whether you're going in that day or not. You don't have to wear that with you all day long unless you're someone like Brad Lidge that blew a big game and now you've got to go into the next one with a chance to win.
I was sorry, Dan. I was mistaken about the claret jug. Wow. Okay, Jeremy, give a fist bump, I guess.
They
for
do
your
that
Brad
when I make good
Lidge
points
reference.
now, I guess.
It wasn't a claret jug because that's a jug. It doesn't have a lid. I should have realized that. It's the Wanamaker Trophy. And Colin Morikawa PGA Championship. Colin Morikawa.
The top fell off, yeah.
Yeah, lifted it up after he won and the top fell off. I wanted to do a clarification.
Another great trophy in sports. I guess you could argue, even though there's an actual trophy for the Masters, there's the green jacket that everybody wants to have in their
The green
locker
coat, yeah.
one day. But there was a great trophy that was handed out over the weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway. You get a sword if you win at Bristol. Yeah, a functional sword. I think our video team has a photo of what Kyle Larson won, a big old pointy sword.
Okay, but you guys are throwing things at the video team, and the video team wasn't ready for what you threw at them.
They actually told me they were, so
we have a sword.
Behind the curtain.
Yes.
Okay, because I was waiting for the claret jug to be dropped there.
I was
waiting for the Wanamaker Trophy to be dropped there.
We don't have to pay attention to it. We just move on.
But are we going to see the video?
Instead, we got Jeremy fist bumping.
Because I would like to see that video. That would be something, not that video. That's not the one that I want to see.
You know, Chris Paul had a pretty good year.
Reported the news.
Well, let's talk about this for a second, because Stugotz...
How's he going to do in the postseason?
Oh, he won't be there.
That was the joke, Jeremy. You could have just let that sit. The joke, that was yeah, he won't be there.
Not being there is going around.
Not being in the finals is the joke.
I was hitting Rangers fans with that all last night at the Panthers game. Like, good luck in the play. Oh, that's right. You're not going to be there.
Over 50% on 2-point field goals, 38% from three, 7th in the league in assists.
Good.
Chris Paul, 40 years old, 82 games. How about that? They outscored teams when he was on the floor. The Spurs, they were terrible.
I cannot believe he has played to this age because he doesn't have cartilage in his knees and hasn't since like he got out of Wake. It's crazy.
There's nothing that can move Stugotz off of this position, right? Like
yeah, Chris Paul actually winning the thing, but that's not going to happen.
No.
You think that would move him off the
Probably
position?
not, but
Nope.
at least like that's the one possibility to move him off of his Chris Paul hate.
My problem with Chris Paul is when we, back at ESPN, Stephen A. would come on all the time and say he's a top 10 point guard of all time, and he's not. That's all. That's it. He's not. All the greatest point guards in the history of the NBA have won at least one title. At least one. Chris Paul, none. Congratulations on 82 games.
It's not just 82 games, though. It's 82 games, and he played very well.
He's still good.
Mm-hmm.
He's 40.
Right.
7th in the league in assists.
Mm-hmm. He'll be watching the playoffs with me and you.
I would love that.
That sounds fun. Are we doing a watch party?
Can we do that?
We should hire him.
I think
We
we'd
should
like
get
to
Chris
do
Paul.
that. Yes.
I bet he can get you into space. The
He's
club,
always available this time of
not
year.
outer space.
We've got Jamal Crawford coming on later. Will you settle for some Jamal Crawford?
Jay crossover. By the way, $250,000 to go to space on Richard Branson's rocket. Yeah.
What?
It's cheap. Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's not Spirit. That's not the Spirit Airlines of space.
Letterman with a sandwich for laughs.
So honestly, thrilled to be doing this with you because I have admired your work. You are just such a sculptor. You're an artist as a comedian. It's sort of the
Why? Thank you.
well,
Thank you.
the craft of it. It's such a hard way to make a living, Jay. I don't even understand how you make a living that way. I really don't. You have to be demented to choose. You know what? I'm going to laugh my way to the top. I'm going to take the expectation of funny, and that's how I'm going to get rich. Get out of here. It's crazy.
It seems sort of second nature to me. I think it's one of those things is if it's what you like to do, it just comes. I remember when I was in college, I'm dyslexic, so I would get out of any sort of written things, and I was taking speech therapy. And I remember the professor said, now at the end of the class, each student will have to give a 20-minute talk. And people went, 20 minutes, oh my God, I get done. I thought, I'll do it right now. I'll talk for 20 minutes. Yeah, let's do this. So it just struck me as funny.
But you could be funny in an instant? You knew that this was something...
No, not funny. I had to give a 20-minute talk. I mean, I didn't have a routine. I wasn't a comedian yet, but it just seemed natural. I mean, I always read that getting eaten by a shark and public speaking are the two things most people are afraid, that kind of stuff.
But not you, right? Like that, you didn't need attention, right? An audience just didn't scare you, right? Even though you were dyslexic, even though...
No, it didn't scare me. You know what's interesting? A lot of people don't realize, you remember the Smothers Brothers, right?
Yes.
Well, Tommy Smothers was dyslexic, and they were folk singers, but Tommy would get the songs wrong. Michael, boat the row ashore. No, it's row the what? And they made it part of their act. And that's kind of how they became a sort of funny comedy singing team,
How do you watch stand-up comics? Because I imagine you are watching not just to laugh, but to see where the comic's insecure, where the comic looks off stage or looks at his feet. I imagine.
No, not really. I watch it just to enjoy it. You know, I like comedy. I enjoy watching comedians. You have to be careful when you're a comedian because someone does a joke and then you realize you never want to be on stage and that subject comes up and your mind immediately goes to that person. So you have to be careful not to try and take somebody else's material. You know, that's sort of the biggest trick. A lot of times you don't want to watch comedians do routine on a particular subject because if you're developing something along the same line, oh, now you can't do yours because it's too close to theirs or whatever it might be. But no, I watch it. You know, it's like I like to make love, but I don't want to be a gynecologist. You know what I mean? So I enjoy it just being, you know, just being around it and being with comics. It's always fun.
You came up through the pipeline of where stand-up comedy was born, right? Like, I mean, you're almost at the roots, Jay. I mean, I don't know if it's Pryor and Carlin, but coming up through the LA comedy circuit, coming up through the comedians, when you were writing with David Letterman for J.J. Walker, right? Like coming up through the Comedy Store, can you take me through the path of what you imagined your career was going to be and how it is that you arrived? And like, I can't even imagine getting from there to the Tonight Show.
Well, I'm a huge believer in low self-esteem. I think it's the key to success. If you don't think you're the smartest person in the room, you're more likely to listen and pay attention. I mean, when I was doing the Tonight Show, I constantly meet people who were geniuses. People say, you know, my client is a genius, but the people at the network were afraid he'd be too good. You know, I get that all the time. Or I get comedians who audition for the Tonight Show, and they didn't quite have them. They were close, and their agent would say, you're scared because you know if my client kills, he could take your job. No, I want your client to do well. It's just that, you know, talking about Reagan's trip to Pittsburgh 30 years later, it's not really timely anymore, okay? Can you try to update the material? Oh, and then people get furious. So there's all sorts of reasons why. But I think the key is I was always happy at whatever level I was at. I mean, I used to have a day job and then be a comedian at night, and I would bank one and spend the other. And then when the comedian money got to be pretty good, I quit the other job. And I thought, oh, I'm making a living as a comedian, because it's probably a sad reflection on our society, but the worst comedian in the world still makes more than the best teacher, which seems hardly fair, but that's just the way it is. And so I always was able to make a living, and it was okay. Each year got a little better than the year before, and that was okay. You know, it's so funny. Whenever I watch these shows about, there's a couple of them on Netflix and HBO about comedians, it's a backbiting, horrible business, and everybody hates one another. And that wasn't the case at all. I mean, I got where I was thanks to Steve Martin and Johnny Carson and Harvey Korman. And consequently, when I got a little success, I brought Johnny Carson in to see Ellen DeGeneres and some other comedians as well. And you can't do every job every day. So I've always found comedians to be extremely supportive. You know, whenever one of us, by one of us, I mean Letterman or me or Seinfeld or even Robin Williams, if you watch my first Tonight Show from 1977, you hear this in the back laughing in the audience. It's Robin. Robin was sitting in the audience, kind of helping me out and giving me a little encouragement, you know. And consequently, when those guys did the Tonight Shows, we all went and would laugh it up for them, whether it's Merv Griffin or, you know, Mike Douglas or any of those shows. So it's actually quite a nice way to make a living. I mean, yes, there are horrible people in it, I suppose, but I didn't run into too many of them. I met far more nice people than bad people.
What do you regard as the happiest time in your professional life? Because I remember, I don't know how many times you appeared on Letterman. I remember a stand-up act specifically that for some reason, I don't know whether it was discovering you, I guess, but you were on stage and you did something about Mr. Universe, and you held your fingers under your chin and you made, some other interplanetary weightlifter was furious because, we had decided that
I should have won. Something about how did Venus win? I should have won. You know, it was how they have Mr. Universe. If there's the happiest time yesterday was pretty good. But the happiest time was probably when I was doing Letterman show every month. About every 4 weeks, I do a Letterman show. And it was the first time that I got to be on with a contemporary. Because like with Johnny Carson, like when I see him, oh, hi, Mr. Carson, call me Johnny. Well, when you grow up in New England, you grow up, you don't call parents by their first name. Jay, these are my parents, Bob and Agnes. Oh, hi, Bob. No, I'm Mrs. and Mrs. Minicelli. How are you? Nice to meet you. So to me, it was always weird doing Merv Griffin or Mike Douglas or any of those shows because I was talking to an adult and I was essentially a kid. And then finally, when Letterman got a show, I could want to go, hey, Dave, nice tie, Dave. What a dump this studio is. And just, trash, which you couldn't do with Johnny just out of respect or out of deference, So that was the most fun to me. And you really got a chance to be yourself. The fun thing about doing Letterman in those early days was making Letterman laugh on the way to the joke as opposed to the joke. Letterman was a guy who always got nervous before he went on stage. I didn't get nervous. So one day I was eating a sandwich and Letterman stops me and he goes, how can you eat that sandwich? You're on in 5 minutes. Get rid of that stupid sandwich. I said, oh, no. This is going to be great. So I went down, I got another meatball sandwich, just an enormous, and I walked out and said, Dave, try this. And I put the sandwich on his desk and of course the meatballs getting all over everything. And Dave was just, acting flustered. And I said, Dave, try this meatball. I'm not eating that disgusting meatball. And we had so much fun because this is all ad-libbed. And it was happening in the moment. So if I had to pick the most exciting part of my career, that was probably it. That whole 3-year, 4-year period of just constantly doing Letterman all the time and going on, writing material literally the day before and then going on and doing it. So yeah, that would certainly be it.
I don't know if you've examined this because I regard you as someone who generally comes from a happier place from with comedy or a better relationship with comedy, where Letterman seemed it was colder or that, he would be a little miserable or some of the negative feelings. He wasn't quite as comfortable.
This episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
So anyway, Stugotz, in the ramble of social media shame that I was talking about, one of the points I meant to make as I staggered and stumbled and rambled about is just sort of about a lack of confidence, how social media can affect you if you are in a state that lacks confidence. And I don't think I've said to anyone around here more than I've actually said to Jessica when we're in breaks apologizing for something because I'm like, man, I just don't have my confidence where it needs to be today. And so something that happened in the first hour that perhaps nobody would have noticed but that I couldn't help but notice is that I was just sort of sloppy in a way that I was forgetting to get to Miami Heat talk in the local hour. I normally have, and I don't know if it's Jeremy that did this to me, just his face, but I actually wanted in the local hour to talk about simply a play-in game against Chicago that they will lose late after leading because they can't do anything late in games because they have a systemic problem of Barry Jackson did a very good deep dive on the data where they're really bad 5 feet from the rim. They don't get fouls. And in late in games, they got no chance because they don't have the kind of shot maker you need at the end of games. They're worst in the league at the end of games. And if you're worst in the league at the end of games, you've got no shot in that league. And so you're not going to do anything. And so while I would like to think that they can beat Chicago and want to hope in one more game of season, the metrics on this team are damning. And when you read the Terry Rozier stats, I imagine it has to make Mike Ryan a version of crazy to see everything that is happening with the Miami Heat and have Terry Rozier flame out in a way that Eric Reed is just baffled. Eric Reed is watching the game. Eric Reed, in the history of this market, there have been no voices, I would say. Not a one. Maybe fellow Ramirez. I don't even know. Not a one. that are associated with the team the way that guy is, and associated the way that team would want him to behave as a broadcaster, which is professional, but you're going to be pretty fiercely protective of the Heat. You're going to be somebody who can somehow be a broadcast professional who is credible, but everyone knows he's really rooting hard for the Heat. He can't even hide it.
I'm the third biggest homer in the market.
Every regional broadcaster, right? I mean, every regional broadcaster is broadcasting for their team.
Okay, but
Go ahead, do your thing, Jeremy.
You want me? I will.
Even he was confused and sort of angry at Terry Rozier.
Oh, my God. I've never heard Eric Reed talk about a player the way that he has with Terry, which is just simply over and over again being like, man, nobody wants it more than Terry. He's trying so hard, and nothing is going in the hoop for him. I mean, it was those types of exasperated calls all year long. Just one. I think what he might have said in the last game was, I've never seen a good player have as bad of a season for the Heat as Terry Rozier. So still couching it with good player, because he's been a good player his whole career. Right. This season was miserable. I wonder what the Heat's metrics would be if you just simply removed Terry Rozier from them.
But Dan is saying that this must drive Mike crazy. Mike feels vindicated. Mike's got his feet up on the table.
Well, what I forgot, this is what I forgot, okay? That Mike is, as a sports fan, the single biggest fan there is on earth of being right. And he nailed this one.
He learned that from us, Dan.
Not only did he nail this one, though, he nailed this one, and this is what I'm worried about. He's playing both sides on the Panthers and Marchand, where he wants them to win the trophy, but if they don't, he's got the person to blame.
Yeah, well, that's Mike.
Like that he is ready to pounce on the Panthers with the ego and arrogance of, I was right about Marchand, in a way that makes me think he's now rooting against the Panthers. Huh. I'm now looking at his face, and what I see is someone who might actually be rooting against the Panthers to defend their title.
What happens if they win, Mike? Do you praise the
Marchand? Well, then he wins. It's the perfect position.
It's a win-win.
It is. Wait a minute. He's figured something out formulaically in the talking about games of how it is to immediately seize on the new traded players so that you can have a scapegoat at the end of it. But I'm trying to figure out how he could have been more right about Rozier. The local broadcaster, that's for him spitting acid. I remember one time, I still laugh with Zaslow about this. I'll text it to him every once in a while. There was a loose ball once, and Eric Reed was trying to frame it with the proper enthusiasm during a bad season and with a player that was mediocre. And so there was a pause in his professionalism for just a moment, an uncomfortable moment. Loose ball, Heat player falls down, Heat don't get the ball, and Eric Reed gets a little carried away, and he goes, and Samaki Walker is a contributor. Which is it's just sort of like, I know you guys know what I know here, and I'm just going to wrap it in some Heat gift wrapping.
Well, if you want to talk contributors, Dan, I mean, Kyle Anderson has been great the last 15 games.
Can't believe Eric Reed did that to slow-mo. I mean,
all right, I'm not gonna do the Heat talk anymore unless Mike Ryan wants
sure?
to gloat one time.
No,
here.
I'm totally checked out. I'll watch the game. They'll lose, and hopefully they.
You
win
won't watch the game.
One. No, I'm not going to watch the game.
Right.
Of course you won't. You haven't watched one in like 2.5 years.
The game's tomorrow.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
I got a thing.
Yeah.
You want some stats to try to convince you that
Nope.
the thing can happen? Because I compiled a bunch just to try to convince you that the thing could happen.
What's
I
the
don't know
thing?
if I believe it or
What
not.
thing?
What's
Beating
the
the
thing?
Bulls?
They could do the run again.
No.
You want to hear it? You
Yeah.
want to hear why?
Fine.
I've compiled a whole bunch of them. Because
right.
remember?
Everyone said no, but you kept going.
Well, Stugotz eventually said yes because I badgered
I
him
think
enough.
we'll get it over quickly if we just let him do it.
Yeah.
That's the faster route.
That's been my whole approach. Get your shots up, Kate.
All right, let's do it. You know, in the last 15 games, the Miami Heat are 5th in net rating, only behind the Clippers, Thunder, Celtics, and Wolves. And you know that when it comes to making a run like they did in 2022-23, It's about shooting well from three. Remember, in that season, they shot just 35% from three, ultimately ticked up to 45% in the playoffs. If you look at the Heat this season, they were shooting about 36% throughout the year, but over those last 13 games, 40% from three. Now, that means they've gone 9-3 over that stretch. 9-3 this season with this group post-trade deadline, shooting 40% from three. Dan, you have thoughts on this?
Jessica, I'm sorry, is one of the thoughts that I have. One of the things that I would like to do with you, though, if we must insist on you giving all of the Heat homerism, is that I, on the other side, will just read some things from Barry Jackson's article that are less positive than that. Perfect for you, not for Jessica, not for anyone else listening to this.
Can we do some sort of Chicago-Miami wager? Like, if Chicago wins, I get the week off work. If Miami wins, we don't have to hear about from Jeremy for the rest of the playoffs.
Well, that doesn't feel very fair.
Wow. Those are some serious.
I'm okay at talking about the other teams.
I'm rooting hard for the Heat. I mean,
I think I might be too.
During the final 5 minutes of games with a margin of 5 points or fewer, the NBA's definition of clutch, the Heat was outscored by 61 points. Only Toronto and Utah were worse. Shot 39.9% from the field, fifth worst, and shot a dreadful 25.6% on threes. Only Orlando was worse. No wonder the Heat was 18-24 in those games. One of the things that always happens in this sport, and this was interesting to hear Denver's owner Kroenke talk about this, on why he was about to fire Malone. He was about to fire everybody, and then Denver went on an 8-game winning streak. During that 8-game winning streak, they beat no winning teams except for Orlando, and so they decided not to fire them then, masked by the schedule, right? It's not, they didn't get any better.
You can't fire someone after 8 consecutive wins. I don't care who they come against.
No, that's what Kroenke said. He said, which is worse, a few games before the end of the season or in the middle of an 8-game winning streak? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you fire someone during an 8-game winning streak?
Well, a lot of your stats there, Dan, actually lead right to mine, because to me, it seems like the Heat were one of those teams that got severely unlucky toward the end of games this season. You know, you talk about a season where they're 3-11 in games decided by 3 points or fewer. That's not only the most losses in the league in games decided by 3 points or fewer, that's the most in team history. They have 17 losses by 5 points or fewer. So in all of these games, but sometime the bounce goes the wrong way. They had 14 of those losses in 2023. So if you're keeping track, you're looking at a team that lost a lot of close games, is getting hot from three. There's the defensive side, Dan, but I imagine you might want to counter some of that.
All right, well, but just they were bad late in games, and so they lost close games late.
Those stats were just like they lost a lot of games by 5.
Yes.
They lost a lot of games
but
by
he's
3.
saying their luck's going to change. I mean, it has to change.
But it's not.
It has to change eventually. It changed in 23.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that's not.
I'm getting there.
It's not luck. This is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this is what happens when you're
well,
bad.
This is
at
what
the end
happens
of
when your
games.
team's decimated by your superstar tanking games.
Well,
trying to get out of here.
So look here. Look, this is it.
Please don't invoke his name.
I didn't.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's just simply quantifiable. Getting free throws late is really valuable in this sport in close games to slow the game down and just getting points at the line. Rozier shot 29.5% on threes, which was tied with Franz Wagner for second worst among 174 qualifiers. Was it the Wagner that got you? Was it just
Franz?
It was the percentage.
The percentage.
No, but wait a minute.
I love the Wagner.
But yeah, well, no.
That helped too.
Well, but I was so tempted to pronounce it Wagner. But Wagner puts an extra little flair on, holy shit, Terry, you were bad. Because this is a comically funny name for a bad basketball player. Franz Wagner.
It's a great name for a movie villain. I mean, it is.
He's solid, especially when directly compared to Terry Rozier.
Put it on the poll. Does Franz Wagner sound like a movie villain?
He does.
Ahead of only Spurs rookie, defensive wizard, Stefan Castle. And then here he goes in on, as Heat TV announcer Eric Reed said Sunday, it's difficult to think of a good player who had the sudden in his prime regression to the extent Rozier did. And then this is the killer. Rozier has 1 season left on his deal at $26.7 million.
Ooh, nothing better than a big expiring contract, Dano. Puts you in a good position to move it this offseason, potentially. And the good news for the Heat going into this play-in, Terry Rozier will not likely see the floor unless there are several injuries that happen in the next 24 hours because he is out of the rotation. And I told you, They're shooting 40% from three over their last 13 games. They're not playing well in these close games. But you know what it takes to win in the playoffs, Dan? What do they say? What do they always say? Defense wins championships, right, Stugotz? Defense wins championships. Well, in their last 15 games, the Heat are 4th in the NBA in defensive rating. Nobody in the NBA this season, in clutch moments, so you talk about the Heat struggling on offense, no one in the NBA has more steals in clutch time than Bam Adebayo. He's the best one-on-one defender in the league. Of the 94 players who have defended at least 100 isolations this season, Adebayo ranks number 2 in the league with 0.69 points per game to ball handlers. And since becoming a starter, he's the very best in isolation defense. They also have one of the best pick-and-roll defenders in the league on their team in Davion Mitchell. Of the 116 players who have defended at least 500 pick-and-rolls on the ball this season, he ranks number 3, allowing 0.88 points per game. And if you combine Davion Mitchell and Kel'el Ware defending the pick-and-roll, for instance, they've allowed just 0.68 points per game in the pick and roll, something that the Cleveland Cavaliers do quite often with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland at the top of the key alongside Evan Mobley. So if you're looking for something that could be a recipe for upsets come the postseason, it's a team that can get hot from three. It's a team that can play defense. It's a team that can defend you one-on-one and as a team. They have the 4th best net rating in the last 15 games. They've lost a lot of close games. That luck can change. Dan, just like in 2023, the possibility is there for one of those runs for the Miami Heat.
Chris Cody yawned 3 times during that.
That's on me, though.
Mike was taking notes, though.
Notes. I made a really cool S.
It's an S.
Dan, you okay? It seems like you might have taken something out of you.
I always wanted to know how to make more of those because I have a lot of S's in my name. And so when I would doodle the S's, I'd be like, well, what about the J and the E?
I can make more.
How do you make a J like that?
How much more are you going to talk?
That's it. I just gave you everything. I mean, you should be convinced by now, right? Right?
I genuinely didn't hear
I know you
more.
didn't listen to any of it. It's all right. Just like you didn't watch the games, and that's okay. They're bad, but maybe they won't be.
I took offense to calling Terry Rozier a good player. Like when the whole point is hard to think of a good player that has this kind of regression during their prime. Yeah, I solved your riddle, my guys. He's not a good player.
Nobody likes the guy who does my guys
No
there.
one.
And Jeremy, we all had, I believe, you're still muffling a yawn, Chris Cody.
Like I said, this is on me, though. I had a late night.
Is it?
It was boring.
What Jeremy is doing right now, great night for women. What Jeremy is doing right now is both reading and math, which I believe our audience is allergic to listening to that into microphones. But he is also doing reading and math at a rate that is way too fast, way too energetic, way too
happy.
I can slow it down if you'd like. You want me to talk again about Kel'el Ware and Davion Mitchell averaging 0.68 points per possession on the pick and roll defense? Or
No.
Okay.
I would like you to be quiet for a second because all of us, I'm going to say that it feels like the show has been tasered. Okay? And so I just need everyone to settle down. Yeah. And I need to gather myself in a segment. I started this segment by telling you I'm leaking confidence. Like, I hold on, Jeremy, don't raise your hand to talk again.
Oh, I was going to defend you in the Pacers.
Jeremy, please don't. Jeremy, just let me help you here, okay? Just slightly. I want to help you with me, with the audience, with everybody, okay? You have to understand something that's happened around here because we're headed into the hockey playoffs and this show's about to get obnoxious again, and we're going to alienate audience. Don't love leaking confidence and alienating audience. Don't love that.
That's not how this show was built.
No, yeah, correct. So let's.
Hey, we've had a good run alienating this audience.
Okay, listen. Yes, we have had a good run.
But we've done it with confidence.
Yes. So 20 years in to this thing, and again, I want to apologize to Jessica. Just in general. Jessica, I'm apologizing to you for Heat talk. Again, that you're in the middle of talk about the Heat again when there are a million things about the playoffs that are interesting. The Heat are not one of them. and so to be leaking confidence, to start talking the Miami Heat simply because it's the wheelhouse It's been the wheelhouse for 20 years. We miss it so much. It's why Mike is so angry. It's why when I read math and tell you, among more than 75 NBA point guards, only 8 shot worse within 5 feet of the basket than Terry Rozier, who shot 55.2%, which is what makes Mike crazy.
No, that being right makes me great.
Yeah,
Man, I'm buzzing right now.
Mike feels great. Yes,
dude,
yes.
This dude was so bad from the jump.
He was right on Terry. He hasn't out of the Panthers, don't advance in the playoffs. Woo! Mike is in a great spot right now.
As the playoffs begin.
He seems like it. I have an idea, though, Dan. There's another woman here that you can apologize to for too much Miami Hurricanes talk, and it's Lucy.
It's a big day for women. Look, she's wearing hurricane colors. She's wearing hurricane colors.
Yeah. Because Katy Perry went to space, Lucy.
Yeah. Oh, she did.
Yep. What did you think about that? We hated it, right?
I saw a great joke that she started singing. That's why they came back so fast. Thanks for laughing. I didn't come up with that. I want to give credit to whoever said it, but
you're not giving the credit.
Proud of you.
You just took
I can't remember who said it, but I'm not saying that I said it.
Why did you say what? Why did you say why was it a great day for women? You had the WNBA draft. Hockey's not playing games.
I thought you meant today.
No, all of it. Well, we're here we're celebrating women. That's how Jessica decided to introduce you.
What?
Yeah.
I'm a little lost
On
here.
behalf of Mike Ryan, he would like to apologize for being so annoying about the Miami Hurricanes for the last forever. And also Dan wants to apologize for being annoying about the Miami Heat. Do you accept?
No.
Okay, well now
but
I'm really
I
stuck.
think it's a good first step.
Wow.
Okay, well what else needs to be done? Because
Did you get us gifts?
I feel, well, here's the thing. I feel like
raises?
I feel like
shameless, Dan.
You guys, I thought you were Stugotz. I thought that you guys were going to speak for the audience here, that Jessica and Lucy would look at me and Mike and Parakeet Cortez and Jeremy and all of these Heat homers around here and Hurricane homers, and that the two of you would enjoy mocking us because we're not in a great place.
Well, yeah, but we do that all the time, but then you just keep yapping anyways. It doesn't even serve a purpose.
Yep, that's right.
It was like a year of me mocking you. I had to move because it wasn't working.
Is it better now that you're in New York?
Oh, yeah. No one talks about Miami at all.
I'm going to take some notes. I'm taking notes back here.
All right, can we make the giant bet? Can we make the giant bet? What are the stakes on the giant bet here, Jessica? If Chicago and Miami play in Wednesday's play-in game, you can move to New York too?
Sure.
And what do I like?
Wait, but if Miami wins, I can't?
Huh.
I like to keep my options open.
Wait, so if Miami wins, you have to stay?
Okay.
Right. You sure?
I don't know. I wasn't listening to him, but it sounds like he thinks they're going to win. But he always thinks they're going to win.
Right.
I don't know if they'll win the one game. Oh, all right. I got tased.
It is. Okay, Jeremy, just stay in the corner for a second. Let me get to Lucy here. She was at the WNBA draft last night, and there are a number of different things that I want to talk to her about. But it was a glamorous night, and having the sports night to yourself, really, where it's just baseball and stuff, like it was a real celebration of the sport that was cool to watch.
No, yeah, it's cool to see the way this event has kind of progressed through the years. And I think specifically what I love the most is, like, objectively, I'm just going to say it, drafts are like maybe not the most interesting thing in the world. You're just like saying a name. But to see the way that like the WNBA does such a good job of like combining the culture and the fashion and really just making this a celebration of the sport is super fun. And my personal favorite thing was to see the fashion of the night, because like just, 10, 15 years ago, the dress code was business casual. So everyone looked like they were taking a LinkedIn headshot when they were getting drafted. And now it's some of the most beautiful fashion you've ever seen. Like Kiki looks like a goddess. She was ethereal walking through the place. Paige did an outfit change halfway through, looked phenomenal. Georgia Amore was styled by Russell Westbrook. Like the whole thing was just so phenomenal to see. And it is such a benchmark of just how far this league and this event has come.
Well, can we talk about that part, though? Because the NBA got popular, at least in here somewhere. They were good, the NBA was, at creating image. Like the sneaker business is fashion. The whole thing is built on how do we present. Russell Westbrook is a fashion icon, even though many people will laugh at the way he often dresses. So that the idea that they can be trendsetters on fashion too and culture is where it is you see that the sport arrives, because everyone is talking about, oh, what an amazing party they threw, and everyone looks fantastic, and you can, you can watch it and just enjoy a celebration. But many people are also doing what I'm not capable of doing, which is breaking down that draft and what the surprises were. Like, what were the things that were dramatic? I can't speak to that. I don't know enough about the league.
Well, 1 through 4 was expected. That played out pretty much exactly how everything was sort of like mocked out to be. Things got kind of weird with the Valkyries pick with the girl, I can't remember exactly, from Lithuania. Tahina Pau dropped, Cheyenne Sellers dropped. Like, you were seeing people really move in directions that I wasn't expecting it. I want to highlight that I think the Mystics had a great draft. I was really, really impressed with what the Mystics did. Obviously, you have 4, 5, 6, so you're in a pretty good spot with Sonia Citron, Kiki, Georgia Amor was just a like collective real bunch of like that franchise really needs a spark of life, and I think they got it. And I think something that actually goes back to your point earlier, just about kind of the culture and what makes it so cool, is that it's interesting to see the way that TikTok has really factored into this, because this morning I was scrolling and like so much of my feed was direct player to media content of getting ready for the draft. Here's how I put my outfit together. Here's what the experience is like. And I think that's really opened up the doors for the culture to become just like such a phenomenon within the WNBA. And it was really cool to see how everything came together.
Lucy, I have a question for you, because on TV it seems like the audience this year is in Hudson Yards was like way bigger than last year, where it was in Brooklyn and like a Brooklyn Music Hall, I think, or something. I can't remember what the venue's called, but it's a lot smaller. This year is a lot bigger, and you have like Ryan Rucco and Lobo and Andrea Carter on the desk, and they're talking, and they did the same thing last year too. But last year seemed like it was a little bit more smaller and intimate. This is like a big venue, and there's people at round tables and like lots of people in the audience, but on TV it seemed like everyone in the audience was just silent while they were doing the draft analysis. And it seemed like if I were there, it would be a little awkward. Did it seem awkward at all?
Well, bad news, they wouldn't let us into the actual draft, so we watched the whole thing on a TV in the back. So.
You're not supposed to give that up, Lucy. You're supposed to do that privately. That's not ethical journalism.
No, but it wasn't our fault.
Wait a minute. That is not ethical journalism.
It wasn't incompetence.
No, it wasn't our fault. We didn't do it wrong. It just like we just didn't get the like credential.
I mean,
access.
that makes sense.
There were a lot of people, so I don't even know.
Well, it seemed awkward, and
but
like
the fashion was great.
In Lucy's defense, the people that are sitting at the round tables are like the players, their parents, Gino Auriemma, Don Staley. Like, it's all coaches. Like, it's very, very front-facing WNBA and like college basketball people. And Lucy, I imagine, will be there soon, but maybe not this year.
Yeah, I didn't get the cut this year. And last year, I don't even think I really got the cut. Like, last year was just a little more lax. But what I remember from last year was like the energy is like a little lower. It's not like the NFL draft, where the NFL draft is so fan focused and it's so heavy on drinking. Like, it's kind of a big party, where this is definitely way more of a formal event. The energy you really get is when teammates get drafted. And so when everyone brings in their teammates and you're just like rooting on for your friends, like, that's awesome. Like, Caitlin Chen was sort of the moment of the night of just like excited. The vibes are so high, but it's like objectively drafts are like just kind of weird. There's like calling names. It's a weird process, but everybody looked fabulous. It looked fun from the outside. Love to be in one day. Love to see it in person.
I want some expertise from you on college football as well. Have you checked out the Athletics 44-page open document request on Belichick and his girlfriend? Have you checked that story out?
No, I haven't, but I will. I love her.
What do you love about her?
That she's a hustler, that she is just like women in sports. I love it. Like, she just, I don't know, she's fascinating to me. She's just like showed up and taken this whole thing by storm. And like, is it probably going to be a disaster? Absolutely. But it's kind of one of those things I'm like, I need her to get a reality TV deal. The Real Housewives of Chapel Hill, please.
That's a great idea.
Chapel Bill.
Chapel Bill. They trademarked that. How have you not seen this story? You're not going behind a paywall. I would think that this would be exactly your kind of story. They're not.
When did it get published?
Today.
Okay, well, I was kind of busy doing this.
It's okay.
So are we?
Yeah.
He's not blaming
And
you.
I was at the
Lucy.
W
Right.
draft last night. I had
Right.
things
Well,
going
you were on the outside looking in, but yeah.
It got published 2 hours ago, so maybe there's
Yeah.
a little bit of a grace period.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
2 hours? That's crazy.
It's just the big story of the day. That's all. I just thought you'd
Oh,
know
yeah, well.
about it.
Actually, Dan, you probably shouldn't talk
I
about it.
didn't
It's
see
kind
it
of a
on TikTok.
spoiler.
I mean, you got that is an excellent tool. Can I have it? Can you
Take it for a walk, Dan.
Can you give me that? And
That sound?
Well, I'm afraid that I'm going to use.
Give you what?
Version.
I think I'm just gonna hit Jeremy with it all the time, and it's
Don't
just,
give Dan this.
it's gonna be abusive.
Chris
It's
is
gonna
doing
be-
fine with it.
Yeah, you pays him plenty with your tone when he speaks.
Okay. Did you have any thoughts? Maybe you didn't catch this either. J.D. Vance dropping the trophy yesterday. Maybe you missed this because you were very busy with the WNBA draft and talking to sponsors and schmoozing.
No, I did see that because that was just like, that popped up on the TikTok feed
Right.
for sure.
That's not
Just
44
classic.
pages. Yes.
Yeah, no, thank God. 44 pages? Oh, my God. I can't. I'm already reading another book.
You're
right now. I
not
can't read
going
two
to
books
read
at
the
one time.
article, are you, Lucy? You're not
No,
going to.
I'll read the article. I've just had things going on.
You're not going to go behind the paywall, are you?
You know what? No, I will because I believe, don't we have a company subscription?
We do.
Oh, there we go. See, I don't even have to worry about it.
I don't
That's
believe
great.
you'll send out the email to get the password. I don't believe you'll do anything to
Hey,
go
Jess,
find this
do
story.
you have it?
It's accounts.
the
Yeah,
password?
I got you. Don't worry, I got you.
Easy.
Also, PFF
Done.
Premium. I've been deep in the Nico Leava.
Well,
PFF Premium.
I want to get to
page.
that story with you too. So JD Vance dropping the trophy. What do you got?
It was just like emblematic. It was just that's life. That's college football right now. Like you just couldn't have scripted it out better yourself. And it's just stay away from my stuff. Leave me alone. You break everything. You ruin everything. You were the worst.
Here. What are your thoughts on Nico, Lucy? It's obviously the topic du jour. And North Carolina, it seemed like maybe he was in the running for landing him, but now looks like they're going to get South Alabama's quarterback in the portal. So where's he going to end up?
I have no clue where he ends up. It's such a weird sort of situation where there are limits to where he ends up because it's the spring portal where he now has no access to transfer to the SEC. You can, but you'll sit out a year. And with the amount of money he's asking for, he wants $4 million. He was making $2.4 million per year at Tennessee. I don't know. And I don't know what schools' financial situations are. Some of this stuff is kind of private. I don't know who's going to be able to pay that. Having a lot of these rosters have already been kind of set. A lot of these things have already been sort of figured out for schools. They've already made that investment in a quarterback. And my thing with Nico is he's not worth $4 million in my opinion. Like I want everyone to get paid. I want players to make money, but like that's kind of a crazy ask from Nico when he was, he was 10th SEC in passing yards this year. This was a Tennessee offense that was not fun to watch. It was just the whole thing was just kind of a crazy the vibe I got was like someone's getting bad advice here, and it's weird to see, and like it's very much of like what's happening in my sport, even though this stuff has always been happening. I have no idea where he ends up. It's such a crazy situation, and I've heard that like when he was testing the markets, obviously his agent is reaching out to different places that players were able to use that to get more money and to solidify their spot. So like he's not even getting these opportunities. It's just crazy. It's nuts.
Okay, so when you say this, though, because I want to examine the macro on this, it does seem crazy to me that in the last 5 years, you're sitting here blowing through the idea out loud of $2.4 million, $4 million. What's this guy worth? We don't know. Yesterday, we were talking, and it didn't seem like Jessica. You're come with a stronger opinion than Jessica Mike had when I'm giving the stat on him that his 19 touchdown passes and 11 were against like Chattanooga and 2 other bad teams. And so 19's not a lot. 19 for a season is not a lot of touchdowns. And so when I'm looking at those quarterback stats and just doing it on numbers, not name, I'm saying the same thing Lucy is, which is like Josh Heupel can say it should be about the team, or he can just say, you know what, I can do better for $4 million.
I think a lot of this is the fact that, like, one, I don't know how much Tennessee has to offer and to pay. And $4 million is a hefty ask. And I think it's important that they went to the playoff. He led them to the playoff. But if you watch Tennessee football last year, their offense wasn't changing the world. It was their defense that got them to where they were. Especially when you think about the offense that Tennessee had just a few years ago with Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt. It is a completely different program now. And that's not Josh Heupel's sort of bag, as this not great offense and a really solid defense. He just, like, for $4 million, when you're already making $2.4 million and you had a season that was fine and Tennessee fans weren't over the moon. Like, there was points in the season where Tennessee fans were like, bench him, we're done with Nico. To ask for $4 million, I think, is kind of crazy. And he's also, like, he's in college. I'm assuming, like, my big thing is I'm guessing people have told him he's worth more for these teams in these markets. And I hope it works out for him. I really do.
Yeah, I think my point is just that, like, you're worth whatever someone will pay you. And if a team has money and is desperate and wants to, there's plenty of reasons why you can convince yourself that this is going to work out for you. Like, he's not this horrible player. He's young. He wasn't great against better defenses last year, like Lucy said. So if someone wants to pay him that, which he clearly was banking on, the fact that existed, the market existed for him, then yeah, like, he's worth it, but maybe not at Tennessee. And it turns out definitely not at Tennessee.
But you would say, right, when she says it's just crazy and I don't know and there are limited options, I would ask Mike, who's desperate to get in here and talk about the Miami Spring game, I am sure. I would ask Mike, is anyone going to pay $4 million for that resume and the idea of growth? And is anyone substantive going to pay for that?
During this window, it's pretty tough. I mean, that's a high end of it, but that's kind of the market for quarterbacks this cycle. Like, the marquee quarterbacks got paid a certain number. I know what Cam Ward was making, and
how much is Carson Beck making?
Carson Beck is not making what's out there.
Does he get new cars?
It's not. Carson Beck has made a lot of money over his career. Carson Beck, no, he's not getting paid what I've seen out there. I've seen crazy numbers.
But it's north of 2.4, isn't it?
I'm not.
You're gonna no comment. You're gonna no comment.
I've been doing this thing with you for 20 years.
No, look, Mike.
It's not what it's out there. Look, we know what we paid Cam Ward. We know that the market has moved up. We know what other quarterbacks have asked. I would say that Nico isn't that far off base asking for $4. He is that off base asking for $4 in the spring, and I think part of in doing some digging is it's not the first time Nico's kind of tried to pull, like, I got other options. He's always looking for stalking horses, and there just comes a time where they might be over it, and when you jeopardize a spring game by holding out, that's certainly one of those times, and I can understand why Josh Heupel says enough of this. We can't let this continue be a standard around Tennessee.
Yeah, I think the crazy thing is, like, the perception that he had this leverage, especially now. I think that's what's crazy. Not necessarily that, like, hey, I'm one of the best quarterbacks, I should be paid like one. That's not that crazy to me. What's crazy is that it was now, it happened in this way, and that he really didn't have any of this leverage at all.
If you recall, like, when Nico first came over to Tennessee, it was a reported multi-year agreement, and they've probably already gone back and fixed that. And he's saying, well, look, I'm the chosen one. I came, I delivered. You guys made it to the playoff. Yeah, I wasn't what you thought I would be statistically, but I was, the guy under center, and we made it to the playoff. And that's not totally out of line with where the market went. So I understand why that was the ask, and can also understand Tennessee being sick and tired of it, saying we've already revisited your deal more times than we probably should have, given how you even came here. And you can't be holding our team hostage every time the spring window, every time a window opens up. We can't be doing this. But look, there were a lot. Jaden Ott entered the transfer portal yesterday.
He's good.
That was crazy.
Yeah, he had a bad year last year. I thought the year before.
He was hurt a lot last year. Like, he played hurt almost the whole season.
He had a 75-yard touchdown run against Miami that he stepped out of bounds, but nobody seemed to talk about that.
Stop.
Okay.
Hold on.
I said one thing.
Lucy had something to say.
It's
Lucy.
the thing you didn't say then.
Yes, Stugotz, the entire segment. Lucy, I'm sorry, but Stugotz, the entire segment has been complaining in my ear. I can't believe Mike no commented us. Now,
it's not my business.
I put him on the spot. I put him on the spot.
I know what's sensitive here. I do. But Stugotz, I couldn't even hear what anyone was saying because the entire time everyone was talking, Stugotz is like, he can't no comment us there, Dan. He can't. And I'm thinking to myself, look, he's in bed with the school, but also he does business with the school, and he's walking a fine line here. He's informed. He's giving us information, but it can't be damaging to the program. And it's a bit of a high wire. And
I mean, I know what you guys make. You want me to put that out there too? It's not my business.
Oh, that feels familiar. That's really interesting.
Lucy, you were saying, I'm sorry I interrupted you. He did no comment us, though.
Yeah.
It's fine. This is just really important for me to say. It's really, really important. If you want to go see Nico in his new team, wherever that's going to be, you can book the trip with Priceline. Are you dreaming about that trip? Book it and go to your happy price with Priceline. We don't know where it's going to be. Thank God the deals are so good, so it'll be cheap no matter what.
Thank you, Lucy. Would you go to space? Would you go to space?
Ew, no.
Right.
No?
What about the club?
No.
Ew.
Ew?
Yeah, ew. Why would I go to space?
I don't know. It seems to be
It's
a
the
trend.
final
It
frontier.
seems-
It's a great conversation starter at a
I
cocktail
don't know.
party.
Why would I want to go?
Because
Katy
you could
Perry
say
went. I don't want to go where Katy Perry went.
because the next time they shut you out of the WNBA draft, you can just like stomp a foot and say, "I've been to space." You mean
I
to
don't
tell
have
me I
any
can't get in this
desire.
draft?
No, look, space, that wasn't meant for me. That wasn't really meant for any of us. I feel the same way about the ocean. I'm just not going to mess with it. I know where I don't belong.
Lucy, if you had to pick one, like this is, shop for your life situation, but you had to do this, okay? Go into the deep water of the ocean in like one of those submersible things, or go to outer space with Katy Perry.
Wow. Oof.
Oh, man, the Katy Perry one, that's what throws you off.
Yes.
Is she going to sing?
The entire time.
Oh, then I'm going underwater. If she doesn't sing, I'll go
No
in
one's
space.
choosing underwater there. That submersible thing is more terrifying than space.
It depends on Katy Perry if she's going to sing. Actually, hold up. Is she going to sing stuff from her old albums? Then I'm good. But if she sings the new stuff, I have to go
This is
underwater.
such a good question.
I kissed a girl.
I don't know how many.
Oh, yeah, we'll go in space.
I don't know how many people listening to this are just terrified of the idea of you're going up in a rocket and that's got danger in it. But if you put me in one of those submersibles and we're going down, no, thank you. Like, no. I'll take space 7,000 times before I will take that. The down in a submarine, no. Put it on the poll. At Le Batard Show. Do you have any interest in going down in a submarine?
You're forgetting the Katy Perry part. That's the most
Right.
important part of the
She's
equation.
not in the submarine, Dan. She's in the rocket singing.
What is your
Right.
problem with Katy Perry?
Have you listened to her new song? It's so bad. That album was terrible. I just don't want to listen to it.
Okay, but also Gayle King is there, but she's not going to talk because she's nervous the whole time.
Right.
Well, yeah, so that means we don't even get to chat. We just hear Katy Perry.
Thank you, Lucy.
Are you tired of waiting on those 3 dots every time you text?
Cello, Casanova the Ghetto speaking.
Hello? Still there?
Only to get ghosted when you're just trying to reach out? Well, we've got a man who loves a long phone call.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Not only that, he hobnobs with celebrities.
Not now, LeBron.
But he's always got time for you.
Yes, Sirski. Hello? What do you need, my friend? My friend? What do you need, my friend? Hot gossip. Do you want to talk life? Do you need some advice? You want to talk basketball? Relationship advice? Say it with your chest, or get it off of your chest.
You can get all that. All you need to do is call Juju now. Call Juju now at 650-585-8669, which spells Juju now. 650. Juju now. If you're in New Hampshire, call Juju now. In Minneapolis, call Juju now. On a plane, call Juju now. 650 Juju now. That's the number. Call now.
Call with your questions. Call with your takes. You want to phone a friend? Well, guess what? I can be that friend. Hello? Hello? What are you waiting for, man? What are you waiting for, woman? What are you waiting for, family dog? Call right now.
I'm very excited about doing this because this is a human being I'm very curious about. His insatiability, his conquering, his ability to be, I think I can say this, if not the most successful comedian in America, the most popular comedian in America. Usually stadiums don't get sold out. Kevin Hart, thank you for being here. I am really interested in finding out how you're built. Your friend Neil Brennan tells me, ask him about his past and you will understand why he can't stop working and why he will never stop working.
That's very true. Neil is a really good friend of mine. Great guy, too. I like Neil all around in general. He's just a good definition of a person. But yeah, man, I'm on your platform, so I'm a firm believer in allowing people to be great, and you are good at what you do. So in this interview, be you. But if we can go as in depth as you want, what questions you have, you'll get great answers and great feedback. I'm here for the greater of good.
Okay, well, I'm happy to have you. So let's start, though, with your conquering. It seems like you are hell-bent on proving something with employees and worth and building and creativity. You want to be what? Like, it seems like you've arrived at what would be a destination for any comic.
I think that it's, I can simplify it. Right, I can simplify it. I think what some people tend to make extremely complex and difficult, I do a good job of making those things easy. Right, for me, I look at it from a perspective of we all have an option in our life to do as much as we possibly can. Right, and you can take that option and max it out. Or you can do the minimum, or you can, do, I guess, what can be deemed to be the mid-level of whatever, right? But there's things that are put around us that do nothing but give us the opportunity to succeed and grow. And it's how you use those tools around you to basically be a version of your best benefit. And my tools that I've been able to form and put myself around are people, right? I've been around some really great people that have achieved a lot of amazing things in their lives and their careers. And in doing that, it's motivating, it's inspiring.
But have you met many like you? The Rock you guys seem to have like a common space where you both understand, yeah, we want everything. We want everything. You've met a lot of people like that?
I've met a lot of people like that. I'm an entrepreneur. right? So an entrepreneur, businessman, a mogul, whatever you want to define it as, there's people that have multiple layers. There's people that want to do a lot of things. There's people that do a lot of things. There's a lot of companies that have been developed to basically now act in a space because of their now ecosystem. They're able to do so much, right? Like the bandwidth of one thing is no longer just the one. It's, look at Amazon, look at Disney, look at these companies that have a multi-layered system, right? It's an amusement park, but then we do animation, and the animation has went into television, and now we are now going out of this into experience, and experience, it's also an activation of experiential. Well, that's somebody that keeps compounding on one idea, right? Amazon was once one thing, well now is Amazon Prime, Amazon Fresh Markets.
You are many things. You are tequilas, you are interview shows, you are documentaries.
Everything, but it comes from looking and being inspired by the people that are doing it at the highest level. So I'm trying my best to create an ecosystem. So Kevin Hart is not just the talent anymore. That's one layer, right? The talent got me in the door to be an investor. The investments got me in a place to build on opportunities that I thought that I would never have. I have a fast food plant-based restaurant. I have a tequila. I'm in the space of health and wellness. I have my plant-based protein to my vitamins, to my gummies. That's in Vita Hustle. Like you have athleisure. That's in Fabletics and Men. Like these are all own entities. These aren't like ambassador roles, right?
How many employees do you have in that ecosystem?
Right now, my ecosystem, I'm probably somewhere around like 220. Maybe like between, if I were to go through Heart House, Grand Cormino, Heartbeat Ventures, probably pushing around 220.
Because your life looks from the outside, anybody would look at it and say, man, that seems fun. And some of what I see in your life, because I'm way outside it obviously, is like, man, that seems like a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure, a lot of people that he doesn't want to let down. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if his life is always fun. I don't know how he leads. It seems like he's got a lot on him.
Well, you have to have some type of passion for the thing that you're doing, right? Like, is it stressful? Does it become a lot of times? Of course, but that's a part of the journey. It's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. If it was, then everybody would do it. So I think the separation within the opportunity and individuals come from those that can take on the task. So delegating, organizing, building structure, all of that stuff, it comes from grasping the mindset that you can't be the one doing it all. You have to invest in people and trust in others to help you build. You need great minds around you. You need ideas. You need people that can flourish within the thing that you're building. That's the only way it gets bigger. So I'm a firm believer in giving my future world of stars the platform to be great. And by stars, I'm not talking about people in front of the camera. I'm talking about the people behind. I'm talking about my business minds that I'm sitting across the table from that really do understand my goal. Right? Those are the important pieces to my puzzle. That's who's helping me.
But what are the growths that you find most personally, emotionally rewarding? Like whether they're for you, how you grow your career, or who you're helping. Like what do you identify as the most moving forms of growth in this ecosystem as you continue to just branch out and really you're not just a comedian, you're a brand, and I am curious about what moves you there. It's not just laughter and it's not just money.
The biggest piece of inspiration that I find is the concept that I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be able to do what I'm doing or the things that I've been able to obtain. I'm not supposed to be here. I come from North Philadelphia, I'm an inner city kid. From my culture, from my community, life is pretty it's pretty direct. You're supposed to be content with the space that you operate in and what you're given, and that's supposed to be life. And a lot of people step and repeat in that manner, right? There's a lot of broken households. There's not a lot of college. There's not a lot of understanding to the space and place for finance. That's why financial literacy is what it is and as big as it is in the culture.
Jamal Crawford's going to be on with us here in a little bit. It does. It makes you feel that way, doesn't it?
Yes, it makes me feel happy.
I don't.
Yes.
What is that? What is that sound? It's not for many people. You do not give that sound very often. I want to tackle this thing though with Miami because now Ryan Clark is talking about Mario Cristobal, and it really is a funny thing to watch happen. Where it's just like, all right, this is how we're doing it in college football now. It's going to be, of course, it's going to be, schools are going to be fighting over players because everybody's trying to win and you can get them for money now. And there may be rules, but it seems like a lot of competitive people might be able to work around them in a lot of creative ways. If the local car dealership, has 20 extra million that they want to put into the program. Stugotz, the game is getting funny now, right? Max Crosby's assistant GM at Eastern Michigan. Why? Because he wants to make a big donation, and it helps, and they can buy some players, and it's fun.
Yes, while still playing in the NFL.
Why wouldn't these players want to be involved with just, all right, it's all going to be fantasy league. It's going to be, we're just going to throw money around all over the place, and a quarterback's going to be worth $4 million when I want you to imagine that conversation 5 years ago. Just think about it for a second. And when we talk about Carson Beck, and people are talking a lot about Carson Beck, Stugotz, because there are not that many players in the portal age where you're like, yep, know that guy. He's a star. He's valuable. Georgia's been at the big game, in all of the big moments for a while.
Well, that may be up for debate.
It's a weird thing that is done with Carson Beck, and I understand the arm injury. It's a big thing. But that's the conversation. People, including Ryan Clark, and I think to a degree Jess, have convinced themselves that Carson Beck isn't good. Carson Beck entered last season as not – consensus was hard to find, but on many mock drafts, he was picked to go number 1 overall. And Ryan Clark said something to the effect on television today when talking about Nico. Mario Cristobal is partly at fault because he gave, quote, $4 million to Carson Beck, and he's not the best quarterback in the country. Number 1, Ryan Clark, you don't know the number. You're off base. Number 2, if you're directly comparing Carson Beck to Nico, Carson Beck is quite almost literally twice the quarterback statistically than Nico. Nico is tied for 36 in the nation in QBR last season. Carson Beck was 8. Carson Beck won the SEC as QB1. He's an accomplished quarterback that's made a lot of money for himself inside that conference and now over at Miami. You don't need to invoke Mario Cristobal, especially when you're out of your depth.
Well, when you won't tell us the number, you could see where people would think they know the number.
There's a guy who knows the number who won't tell us what the number is.
But yes,
I mean, shut Ryan Clark up.
If I may, let me explain why I won't tell you the number. Because it doesn't hurt Miami for Ryan Clark to go on television and just say things like, Miami paid Carson Beck $4 million. That doesn't hurt Miami at all. You know why? Because just like the previous season, the quarterbacks that enter that portal are going to talk to Miami because the national perception is Miami pays the quarterbacks. And if you're in the game of trying to acquire talent, you don't mind that perception out there because it gets you in the room where things happen with these quarterbacks. So why would I reveal the number?
Yes, you're correct that
I asked.
Carson Beck was one of the top quarterbacks going into last season, but he underperformed also and threw a lot of interceptions last year and then got a really devastating injury. So
understood.
I think
betrayed by his wide receiver core, just like you wanted to provide that context for Nico. Look at the drops over at Georgia.
I did look. I looked it up on PFF 2 nights ago. 9% drop rate, something like that. I think Tennessee's was 7. I don't remember. I'll look it up again. But yes, you're correct. A lot of drops.
He's just flatly much better in terms of his resume than Nico's. You don't have to invoke Carson Beck when talking about Nico. They're totally different things.
Go into shallower water.
Oh, man, you're so close to
What
getting that
happened
exactly
there?
right.
Yeah.
Well, he went, look, the show, I wish I wish, I'm telling you, the show that was in my head while Mike was talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because Chris Cody, when Mike Ryan said, Ryan Clark, you're out of your depth, Chris Cody said in my right ear, it ricocheted past, that's a bar.
I heard it.
You tell someone they're out of their depth.
It's just college football media in general. People just speak on facts on NIL deals when the whole thing about NIL and the thing that people often lament is we haven't seen the deals. We haven't seen the deals. So just because you saw an IG tile that said Carson Beck made $4 million doesn't give you the right to open your trap on national TV and sound like a friggin' idiot.
Whoa. Whoa.
I stand with Ryan Clark.
Whoa.
So do I. I think it does give him the
You can
right.
stand with Ryan
Yes.
Clark
Right.
on the wrong side of the number and on the wrong side of the stats. And also you can stand over there on minding your goddamn business because Carson Beck has nothing to do with Nico.
Ryan Clark isn't standing right now because he's out of his depth. So he's
Again,
like paddling.
But Mike,
It's just stupid. Like
people hear the joke, okay?
It's just stupid. We have
I
nothing
don't
to do
get
with
it.
this. Like, mind your own friggin'
Yeah.
business, guys. Like, we have nothing to do with this.
no, but Mike, they're all connected. I mean, it's crazy talk what you're saying.
It's
right
not
now.
connected.
If Carson Beck is getting a certain amount, of course they're connected. All the quarterbacks are connected now.
Yes,
They're
but
all
you
getting
don't know
paid.
the amount that he's making.
Well, you
Would
won't
it be
tell
better
us.
if he just blamed Duke? What if he just blamed Duke?
You can blame Duke because Duke actually
Let's
set the
blame Duke.
market.
Let's blame Duke and move along. Chris Cody, I heard that people send you clips of you mispronouncing things and you won't play them on air.
I have the clip. You want me what I tried to say a couple hours ago?
No,
Here you
wait,
go.
Chris, just hold on because you are doing
Answer that
such
question,
you are
though.
doing such a good show for only me, Chris.
I don't know why he was flapping his arms like a
Look,
chicken.
Chris whispered into my ear while you guys are raging at each other, while Mike Ryan starts to fight Ryan Clark, and as Jeremy squeaks into my left ear, bet you guys miss me talking about Heat now.
We
I mean,
don't.
it must have seemed sort of appetizing compared to that.
Tase him.
So yeah,
Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm not allowed. When's the last time I spoke about Miami?
this
Jim
is
Larinaga talk 3 as you guys let him in
That
this
was
studio.
last
And you let him in this studio tell all his lies. Like okay, cool. I'll just shut up. I talk for 5 seconds. Give you the goods too, because that segment right there, shit was electric.
Put this on social. Ryan Clark followed me on Instagram the other day. I want him to know that I stand with him.
Yeah, you can stand with him on the wrong side.
Remember, he's not standing
It's
because he's out of his
he's
depth.
wrong.
Right.
He's trying to swim.
You're just flatly wrong. He's flatly wrong on a bunch of fronts, and he's out there speaking on facts like he's got the information. Just because you saw an IG tile doesn't mean you got the number, pal.
I couldn't agree more. People who are not paying attention to the sport probably shouldn't talk about it.
Now
And
a pal.
Oh my God, Jeremy, I want to wring your neck. God damn it,
Mike.
You're telling me I was wrong?
please.
Of all the people to tell me I was wrong about something.
Somebody, who are you tasing, Mike?
Both.
Tase Mike.
Just a warning shot to the group. Like, hey, I got this.
But here's the thing: you've lost.
I'm gonna tase all of you.
Wait, though. People just don't understand. People,
Tase myself.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen to me. People do not understand that the greatest show happening right now on Earth is Chris Cody not being involved in our show in any way, but talking to me while you guys talk. He's doing a show just for me. It's useless because it doesn't help me do the show except for in this way. Because he's botched a couple of his lines, he has whimpered into my ear, my tongue is so heavy today. And then the next sentence, the NHL playoffs haven't even started.
Not a good sign.
He's already going late nights on the drinking, late nights. And now we're careening into crazy land with hockey and basketball playoffs. And Mike's not wrong. Mike has more information than Ryan Clark here.
Say that one more time for the audience.
Mike Ryan knows what the facts are here, and Ryan Clark, if Mike Ryan says so, has his facts wrong because Mike Ryan is now a credible reporter inside of the business of this sport, and his information is solid, and we will put our sources up against all of ESPN's sources because he knows more here than anybody does. About
Just on Carson Beck.
on Miami, the business of Miami, who's trying to get into the business of this ridiculous game. And Carson Beck, what I was beginning to say is he is a bit of a phenomenon, right? Because we know he allegedly, reportedly, has two expensive cars, and one of which, or both of which, were stolen on the University of Miami campus. He is here, and he a Cavender twin. They are a celebrity couple at the University of Miami. They were. And, well, that's a whole other thing because people are snooping around in their business. And so Carson Beck is a bit of an internet college football star, and he walking through the door, he's worth that now in the sport. Like, just, hey, that's a name, even off an arm injury. Yeah, I'll make that gamble, $3.5 million or whatever.
Cleared the throw, by the way.
He's worth what people will pay him.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. And what he was leveraging, just like Cam Ward the last time, there was an inaccurate report last week that said Miami and Ohio State were in a bidding war for Cam Ward. I will say that if you want to say that Miami and Ohio State were going back and forth for a quarterback last year, it wasn't Cam Ward. It was Will Howard. Ohio State didn't really actually get into the Cam Ward sweepstakes. He was right there for him. Can you imagine? They won the national title with Will Howard, but they kind of decided they weren't going to negotiate with the Cam Ward thing. Miami, the last 2 cycles, has come away with what was proven to be the number 1 transfer portal quarterback last year, who was just leveraging the NFL draft. This year, a similar situation. Consensus number 1 target out there. Me personally, I like John Mateer a lot. I think Oklahoma got a great quarterback over there. I'm not going to tell you that I don't have my questions. In fact, I was probably one of the people that were a little bit more nervous about Carson Beck because he turns the ball over, because he's got that arm injury. I know Brock Purdy was a favorite to win the NFL MVP like 8 months after he had the very same surgery, but it's not a perfect candidate. I was more excited about Cam Ward, but to see people talk about the NIL market as if they know a goddamn thing about it and invoke Miami's name in Tennessee's business is just bullshit. It's just bullshit. Like, okay, you saw a tweet and you think you know the number. No one knows the number. That's why this is all crazy. No one knows the number. And by the way, the people that you talk to that are supposedly in the transfer portal, that are offering their services up, 99% of the people making the rounds, leveraging their own place in the market, they're not in the portal. They're not in this open market space where you should actually talk. Like, if you want to talk about what you should actually do to stop this nonsense, it's that kind of stuff.
I mean, he's not just some dummy reading Twitter, though. Like, his son played college football last season and was a transfer, so he does understand how this works. He is like a Hall of Famer.
Cool. If his son was a QB1 talking to Miami, I'd say you have the bona fides. Or if he even got the number right, I'd say you're on the money there. But he didn't.
Then tell us the number.
He's well off.
3.5.
He's well off.
So is Carson Beck.
Yes, Carson Beck is making great money for a young man on an NIL deal.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Stands a writer.
I don't like you as an ally here. Yes.
He's the only one who complimented you.
Well, here, Stugotz, can we talk a little bit about just a couple of interesting things happening around the business of this? Because Belichick is making less per year than Deion Sanders. That all happened fast. Everything there happened fast. Like, the game is about money, and Deion Sanders is a star. He's in all the commercials. Whoop, goes right past Belichick. Like, what a giant bet Deion Sanders cashed with his kid and Travis Hunter.
Yes.
Unbelievable. He now earns more than Belichick, who was plenty coveted. In this sport where they fight over all the players, Carson Beck is a name and a star. And so while Mike Ryan might argue on behalf right now of quarterback maybe, if you're believing in the idea of selling tickets and starting momentum now and you're trying to cash a big bet, Carson Beck as a just name ends up being worth $3 million coming off of an injury just because, yes, I know him. He played in one of the power programs, the SEC. He's been playing in big games. I want that around my program because I want buzz around my program because I want all the other car dealerships to know that we've got money too.
That's a huge part of it. So, like, I can only get so mad because
the car dealerships.
Yeah, well, because Ryan Clark is perpetuating something that doesn't work against Miami. It's good to have people talk about Miami. It's good for people not to know the number. We're all playing poker here.
And it's good for this quarterback to have some mystery around him in terms of whether or not he's going to be great and a good fit for Miami. He has had 52 touchdowns, 18 interceptions the last 2 years.
The argument for signing Carson Beck, it made all the sense in the world when it
Jessica,
happened.
why are you down on him? Like, what?
On Carson Beck?
What is he getting wrong here? Because
I'm not down on him. I'm just saying, like, he didn't play very well last year. If he did, he would be a player going to the NFL draft next week.
Yeah, if
so
he remained healthy and
yeah.
that. Yeah, no, it was a down year.
He had a rough season, but Georgia, like you said, their offense was rough last year. And so I'm just pointing out, like, there's a little bit of nuance to it. Like, it's not like a surefire thing, especially because of the injury. So, yeah, like, but again, like, if this is what the market is, and him and John Mateer and Nico are the best transfers in the portal, they're going to, and Mensa from Tulane, like, yeah, you were worth whatever people want to pay you. It's kind of, I think, like, I don't know, annoying to call someone out for being like, it's not $4 million when no one will say what it is. So he's going off of the best available information, which I don't think is like wrong to do.
It is wrong if you don't know the number, or if you can't cite where you got the number.
I don't know.
Look, it's also like
fake money anyways.
It's all like clickbaity too, because like invoking Miami and Mario Cristobal is better than like, why don't you blame Manny Diaz for setting the market with Mensa over there? Like that's not sexy. It just has nothing to do with the other. This is a problem. Tennessee got themselves in a problem. It was a real pickle that they had to solve, and this is not a good look for anybody involved. It also has nothing to do with any of the other programs, how Nico and his team decide to go about their business.
I will tell everyone listening to this that I'm not kidding you when I tell you the last 5 years of this is disorienting, because it's just crazy to me to be listening to Ohio State. We talked a lot about the 21 million or more Ohio State roster, right? Like that the going rate for a roster. And I would assume this number would keep going up. Stugotz, if all you're like, I would imagine Ohio State will get more and more money if they're able to keep bringing home trophies that the vice president can break. Like I would imagine that everyone's realized that in America's second most popular sport, the second professional league of football, because we can't have enough football, so this gets rid of the USFL, XFL, any other challenges. Okay, we'll make this professional sports. We'll conceal it less. It's crazy. The Mike sort of getting into the thicket of the business where this where these deals are made, it is really interesting to watch local boosters for their community who care about a program see if they can go raise $20 million because rich guys want to get themselves Carson Beck. Like, it's just nuts to see it playing out so overtly.
Well, if you care about the program, Miami had to do something about the quarterback position, which is why you take the bet on Carson Beck, even though he's coming post-surgery, because you have a recruiting-based head coach that just had a Heisman Trophy finalist and what in all likelihood is going to be the number 1 overall draft pick go out there. And even though everybody wanted to kill Cam Ward for not playing that entire bowl game, it allowed you to see what Miami's plan was after Cam Ward, and they had to do something.
They'll need another quarterback next year, though, right? Like,
yeah, but
from that standpoint, college sports is really
Jessica.
But this is where it's also good, and I'm sorry about that, Dan. But Cam Ward was at best a 5th-round draft pick, 4th-round draft pick before he came to Miami.
Sure.
Entered the portal, and he took his game next level.
Right.
Carson Beck kind of slid last year, has the arm injury,
right.
Comes over here. So now, say Carson Beck has a great year, fortifies himself in that first round again. If I'm entering the portal next year and I'm looking at destinations, understanding what Miami's plan is in that quarterback room and understanding what I want my career to turn into, then Miami, as a program that's talked about paying top dollar for quarterbacks, and now as a proof of concept program that has done that with Cam Ward and Carson Beck, that's what we're talking about here.
Jessica, twice during that, I wasn't sure whether there was spittle on your face from Mike because of how your eyes fluttered, or you were wincing the way the people did behind J.D. Vance. But it seemed like there were a couple of times in there that you wanted to say something. Did you get some spittle from Mike there?
My eye is twitching. It may be unrelated, but I do want to close the loop on something that was brought up earlier, which is Chris Cody. He often gets sent clips of himself mispronunciation. What do we call it? Mispronunciation.
Yes, that's what I call it.
Yes. Mispronouncing.
Yes,
gerund
mispronouncing.
version of that.
I think often is putting that a little extreme.
But you don't play them, and we'll never know how often because you won't play them. And I just found out about this today, and I heard that there's one in your inbox, and I would like you to play it.
I'll play it right now. He would, but he.
That wasn't too bad.
That was cute.
Not too bad.
It's just like, what are we
Yeah, I
doing?
kind of like
I've
it.
done worse.
No one thinks this is funny. He would, but he
Wait, the middle sound was a little. Can you do it?
he would.
He could.
This is me going to space?
He could, but
yeah.
wouldn't.
This is your heavy tongue after what did you do with it last night?
Panthers game. He would. but he-
Okay, so that's what we're getting 2 months of executive producing.
He would.
Good.
but
Okay.
You know, the
please.
more I hear it, the worse it does
No,
get.
but Jessica,
I know. I do it too. I mispronunciate everything. But it's funny when it's Chris.
I can't work under these conditions.
I don't think I've ever missed.
Thank you.
It's a good tool. I want it. I want it because I know it'll get excessive, but you guys understand what we've just done to the audience because it. So Jeremy reads in numbers, Miami Heat, holy hell. Then Mike out of nowhere, and this is unfair to Mike. He's got better information. That's good content. It's indisputable. Ryan Clark shouldn't have wanted any of this. I don't think he asked for any
It
of this.
was like a 1 second comment
Wait
in a
a
clip.
second.
It's not like
I
he
mean,
wrote like an article about it.
Ryan
he
Clark
drew
is
first
dealing with
blood.
the information that is out there. That's all he has.
Also,
he drew first
Mario
blood.
was the one
did.
who was
You're
like,
right. I'm sorry.
we would never let this happen at Miami. Like, he stood and pounded his chest about, like, this would never happen
did do
here.
that.
So
Yeah.
that was, I
He did do
assume
that.
that's why Ryan Clark brought up Mario. It wasn't, like, out of the blue.
He said, he went on to say Mario Cristobal's to blame for this because he paid Carson Beck $4 million, who's not the best quarterback, which is okay. Last part subjective, and I don't disagree. I disagree with the $4 million and making this a Miami story. Look, the market's the market, and the market ain't the market because Carson Beck, who was one of the last quarterbacks to sign, decided to go to Miami. This Nico thing is pretty unprecedented. And yesterday, I called out Mario Cristobal because, yeah, that may be the message today, but when Tyler Van Dyke was threatening to do the same thing a couple of years ago, we had to mobilize and get Tyler Van Dyke signed.
At the risk of bothering everyone right now, I just need to say that watching the right sides of the faces of Jeremy and Jessica, it feels like they've been lashed for months on wanting to speak for the audience and UCF on behalf of some form of shut up, Miami. You don't get to be in the top when you weren't even in the playoffs last year. And Mike, I do not blame you for being fiercely protective of your program, but I don't think I'm misreading the spittle on Jessica's face. And Jeremy, I know I'm not misreading the look on your face because
he's been tased.
He was not. He was not just tased though. It seemed to me. You tell me if I got this wrong, Jeremy, because I was just looking at the right side of your face. It seemed to me like you felt this entire segment like you've been eating a bag of elephant shit.
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, look, when you're talking about UCF, it's the 2017.
Jeremy and I have something in common in that, well, I guess not really, because your team, I guess neither of our
When
teams
my
won
team
the
with the-
national championship, but you still think yours did.
I want it.
You think yours did, and they didn't, but they can pretend like they did, which is fine.
No, we definitely did.
Mine definitely didn't, and it was the only consolation was that they weren't the ones at the White House yesterday with JD Vance. So I
I
guess
get that they're actually. Ow!
Are you guys ready for top 5 people in sports that connote taxes?
Oh, wow. It's
yes,
tax day.
Stugotz
Happy
came
tax
in here.
day, everyone.
Stugotz skipped in here today. Stugotz said, his feet said, his dance on the way in said, I've got something good for the peoples. Top 5 people in sports that connote taxes. Sports and entertainment, I believe, because he told me one of them, and I'm like,
I needed entertainment. I mean, I did.
He told me one. He just said, Dan, sports and entertainment. I only know one. I don't know the other 4. He never tells me them. They're carefully guarded secrets. But today, to tickle me on the way in, he just gave me one of them. So top 5 people in sports that connote, and sports and entertainment that connote taxes.
This would be their names in an odd world if they were named after something to do with taxes. That's the game I'm playing right here. I do have some OLI.
Okay, but wait a minute. So, Jessica, you seem to it's a different game. He's saying it's not actually.
They're not really connoting taxes. If their parents were accountants and they said, hey, let's name our son Taxton Lynch.
Like singer Tony Taxton.
I was thinking like Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA, because it's one away from CPA.
Wow. That's a good one. Didn't make the list. Expense Ray Hip. Todd Lightoff. Fraudy couples.
These are all OLI.
Evasion Longoria. Dennis Extension Lee. And number 5, Fraud McGriff. The crime dog.
What's the heavy tongue doing right now?
Evasion Longoria.
That's pretty good. Number 4, the Accounting Crows.
That's the one that got me before the show.
Number 3, Jermaine DRS. Thank you. Number 2, Alex Len99. And number 1, W. Pooh Richardson.
Come on, W. Pooh Richardson.
Not my favorite.
Why poo?
Not my favorite.
W2
instead of a W2.
But it's a list that connotes taxes and shit.
Yeah.
No, it's a list. You
W2?
guys aren't getting the list. You don't get the game.
I get W2.
W2 Richardson, because a 2 is also a poo.
Yeah. There you go.
You
No,
don't
but
get
no,
the game.
No, there I go, but you should have went there.
Give me your W. Pooh.
And also, you went Todd Lightoff. There's plenty of people with a last name Wright.
Well, feel free to make your own list.
Very true.
Yep.
Got his ass.
David Wright-Off. You don't think I thought of that? Too easy.
You know what? I'm going to make my own list.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is tax
Why'd you
day.
say thank you to that?
Well, I like when people, I've inspired him to make a list
Well,
that
it's
he
like-
would never, ever make.
It was a challenge for me to write my own list from a man who didn't even write his own.
No, I wrote this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say it showed.
Oh, fraudy couples. Come on.
Well, you got me with Accounting Crows.
That one was good.
Yeah, that's really good. No denying it.
I got to
Come
say,
on.
sometimes the list, sometimes the-
$1.99.
I feel like the list is built around
IRS?
just does he have one? If he's got one, then he knows that is.
I had the Accounting Crows.
That's the one he came.
I was on a gummy. I was feeling good about it.
That's the one he came in and tickled me with. That's exactly what happened.
Waiting for Mike's list.
Well, give him a second. I mean, you craft yours over the course of an evening.
I have some leftovers
You
for
spend
you,
a
Mike.
lot of hours. You spend many hours crafting carefully over top 5 lists that are popular and often sponsored.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to give Mike a second. He can't just do it on the fly. That's a
Okay.
challenge,
All right. Okay.
right? That's not fair. You got to give him a minute.
I guess. Fernando Taxis.
That's closer. That's what I'm looking for.
But
You can have it.
But number one, I think we can all agree, right? Number
I
one
need
was
one.
number one was number 2, like Pooh Richardson. You limped in at the end, and I feel like you
W.
also-
Pooh.
I also feel like you got mad at the group for not supporting you
It's
more.
okay. I love the group.
Okay, then I'm instigating. That's my.
It just felt like
Okay.
that should have been on a different list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of this list. That's
I
all
got
I'm
it.
saying. Like Pooh Richardson, great comedic name for perhaps a different list.
Well, W. Pooh, though.
I get that. I know. But
Two Pooh.
Jessica, do you have any kind
No.
of sort of emotional sports relationship with Kenny Pickett and his meanderings, given that Kenny Pickett was a pretty cool Pittsburgh story and got to a special place that not a lot of people get to, which is you play in your college town, you play in your pro town, and you become a bit of a local hero, and now he's bounce around guy who may or may not be good, is right on the cusp of being like a backup or not a backup, and Kenny Pickett wants in the quarterback game.
Tax Verstappen, first of all.
Pretty good.
That's a good one.
Pretty
Vroom,
good.
vroom.
Yeah.
Second of all, there was some interview with Kenny Pickett where the Browns were like, some reporters like, are you going to be the starter? And he's like, I'm not here to hang out. And I thought that was very funny. But yes, Kenny Pickett's had a weird year, Dan, because he went from, weird 5 years, I guess. Drafted in the first round. Many people called it a reach, but it's Pittsburgh, hometown. Not really hometown. He's from Jersey, but, where he played in
But
college.
not just that, right, though, but Pittsburgh is a steel town that identifies with its football, also loved that once upon a time Dad and Grandpa had a relationship with Dan Marino and felt like that's when Pitt football mattered. They wanted Dan Marino drafted in Pittsburgh. Everybody wanted Dan Marino, and he fell in the draft. But Pittsburgh identified with – it's the most regional star that Pittsburgh had at the position in a minute.
Yes, because he was the quarterback of the best Pitt team in a long time. They went to the ACC championship game. He was
fake slider.
Prolific. Exactly. They made a rule change after him because of his fake slide in the game. He was prolific, but was an older quarterback, and a lot of his success came in his final year. That's usually not a recipe for success in the NFL, et cetera, et cetera. He had like 3 concussions in his first 2 seasons. Matt Canada got fired. It was sort of a disaster, and has just been one in a long string of disastrous offensive quarterback offense situations since Ben Roethlisberger retired. And then he was traded to the Eagles, won a Super Bowl, was playing in the Super Bowl. No one saw that coming because that's how big of a blowout it was. And then got traded to the Browns. And so now he is on the Browns, I guess, fighting for the starting position with Joe Flacco.
Well, that's funny. So that's funny.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Come on. That's funny.
It is funny. It is. I can laugh at that.
We can finally laugh. Are we?
And
We
Tommy
cannot
Reese
laugh
is the
at him.
offensive coordinator.
No.
Are we finally allowed to laugh again at the quarterback situation of the Cleveland Browns?
I mean, Flacco's an upgrade, right?
It's great. It's just
he took
great.
that team to the
No,
playoffs
it's-
2 years
look,
ago, did he
look,
not?
Yes. Joe Flacco, I just love that on the fringes of the league, he's still slinging it. And in the same space, literally with Kenny Pickett, right? Like, I don't know who I want there. Who cares? It's just going to be a bunch of sideline routes, and every once in a while, Flacco's going to throw 4 interceptions because he's an old man and he's an old statue. Like, it's ridiculous. He's 3 years past retirement, and of course, he'll come out and win you 4 football games because he's Joe Flacco. He'll do it in his 80s.
It's just that it feels like there's 4 quarterbacks that just keep shuffling around the AFC North, and also maybe just the larger AFC at large. Like Mitch Trubisky's one of them. Kenny Pickett's now one of them. Joe Flacco's definitely one of them. They just keep kind of moving around.
Can I celebrate Joe Flacco, who I will remind you?
It's about time.
Yeah, let's do this together, shall we?
Yep.
Beat a dead man for Comeback Player of the Year. Hard to do. We all sort of laugh at the name Joe Flacco, and then, oh, look at that, four touchdowns. Excuse me. We'll get to the interceptions. Those come later. The Colts learned. But, woo, slinging it way downfield. There's some bombs. That's the Joe Flacco I know. I can fall in love again. The old gunslinger. But he's a statue, and he's going to throw 4 interceptions. And at this point, he's a cultural icon who might as well play the game the way that Jay Cutler did with a cigarette in his mouth. Like, I'm coming out here for hire. I'm a mercenary. I'll walk through the saloon doors. Who needs 4 touchdowns? I'll give you 4 interceptions sometimes, but at the beginning, I'll give you 3 touchdowns, and I'll spark your offense if you've got a quarterback that is, accused of all sorts of heinous things.
I'm curious what you guys think, though, about the career Kenny Pickett's had, where say he retires in 10 years and plays a backup for the rest of his career in the NFL.
A dream.
He gets to retire and say he was a first-round draft pick and won a Super Bowl. I don't know. Is that bad? Maybe a dream come true, some would say.
His body's intact. I mean,
he did have a lot of concussions.
Maybe his body's intact.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that part can't. It's always there, right? Because whatever Kenny Pickett's career was going to be in Pittsburgh, where all they do is win, and they tolerated a lot from a star quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, who was their local champion. Kenny Pickett comes into the sport with the pressure of, we never have a losing season, and he doesn't have one either. And he gave his brain to that cause 3 times that we saw, all of them looking as bad as the 201s, save for the worst of the 201s, like 3 bad concussions where we all identified him as soon as it happened. It didn't even need to go to the 10. And so he is also a damaged player, right? Like, I don't know what number we're doing this on. I really don't anymore, how we're doing the brain stuff, but I associate him with concussions in a way I don't other players, because so many happen so fast, because he was trying under the pressure of Pittsburgh to get 6 extra yards because the offense wasn't any good on 3rd and 5.
Yes, I don't know how to evaluate his overall physical health and well-being. However, if he is a backup in the league for a long time to come and gets to have that Super Bowl ring and experience, not even just a Super Bowl, he got to say he won a Super Bowl for the state of Pennsylvania. Close enough, right? Wasn't where you got drafted, but you can kind of like in 20 years would be like, yeah, and then I won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, and no one's going to really be like, wait, what? You won a Super Bowl.
Do those count, though?
Yeah, it counts.
What, when you're the backup?
No, you know what I mean though. Like she's doing a thing there. He won a championship, but he's not the reason they won a championship. But she's saying played in a Super Bowl and played on the winning side in a Super Bowl. It's hard to do. There is an achievement in it, but what are his stats for the season?
It counts. He played in a couple games because Jalen Hurts had a concussion late in the season and he had to come in and play. Ian Book was the third string on that team, and he was at Notre Dame spring game last week, and the caption said, Super Bowl champion Ian Book is at the spring game. And if I'm Ian Book, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm a Super Bowl champion. He didn't play a snap, but, I mean, come on.
But I love this question. Do backup quarterbacks deserve a Super Bowl ring? I mean, do they get to gloat about it? I mean, you didn't do anything.
He's not there to hang out. How many passes did he throw last season?
42.
How many touchdowns?
2 touchdowns.
How many interceptions?
Being helpful.
He had 1 interception.
Shock him again. Mike, top 5 athletes and entertainers who sound or remind you of taxes. OLI.
I just have a top 5.
All right, number 5.
Tax Crosby with 2 X's.
There you go.
That's good.
Tax Crosby, yeah.
I love the 2 X's, right?
Yeah.
He
should be 3, but that's another show.
Right. I mean, Taxton Lynch.
Number 4,
yeah.
JJ Credit.
That's good, too. That's good.
Number 3, 1090 Nile Diggs. Number 2, Payrolly Massimino.
That's good. That one is good.
And number 1, tip of the hat to Chris Cody over there, Tarif Abdul-Rahim.